Liked by the sound of violence.
Are you talking about the kip up thing or him just jumping?
Oh, he did literally he turned his butt to Chaos Williams on the floor on all fours, tried to kick him, and it looked absolutely pitiful. And it was his one attempt at doing some stupid Michelle Pereira shit.
I don't even think I knew what move you were talking about. He did a mule kick?
Yeah.
From all fours?
From all fours. Yes.
I don't know.
I'm going to give it to that.
I don't think we
can.
We can't call it consistently useless, but it certainly was
It
useless.
has a 0% success rate. I'm convinced it will have a 0% success rate. It's one of the only things I've looked at from Michelle Behair and thought, that would not hurt if it hit you.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another Sound of Violence podcast. We are an MMA podcast that lets you know the MMA podcast you should catch, skip, and can't miss each week. I am Pulver, and I am here yet again with my co-host, Chris Daffer. How's it going, man?
It's going. Not looking forward to what I'm about to crack open right now.
Oh, that's right. I'm very excited to get into that.
Yeah. Here's a clue. It's 24 ounces.
That's right. And it hates racists.
It does.
Well, before we get to that, did I say we're a podcast about MMA podcasts? I believe I did. Chris, you know what? Let's just get right into it. We got a lot to cover this week since we've been off for 2 weeks. And we also are going to talk a little bit of Rizin later, as well as, if I can fit it in, we might talk about a comedy special. We'll see. But Chris, why don't we go ahead and get right into the beginning of it? Why don't you let us know what the fuck you're drinking in our totally real, super not fake Papa Vodka presents Doug Stanhope presents our sponsor.
Okay.
You already sound excited.
I'm glad I'm sober right now, because all I'll say is if you are already drunk and then drink one of these, you would have a hangover from hell. Just by immediately the first sip. Here's a clue. It hates racists, and the motto is, be a little twisted. And yeah, I think you'd have to be pretty fucking twisted to drink this, especially sober. Here it is, everyone. Twisted tea.
That's right. Chris is drinking the official drink of anti-racists. I'm fucking here for it.
What's it say? So
I thought about getting one, but I've
picture of some chick from Bracky. MT is Montana, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and then some dude from
Shouts out to the Co-Main Event podcast.
Named Ian from Brooklyn, New York, wearing a cowboy boots and Daisy Dukes.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It says submit your own twisted photo at twistedtea.com. No thanks.
Everyone should just send pictures of that one guy getting KO'd with a can.
That's still one of the funniest videos I've seen, and I think Crime Faces on Instagram already did their rendition on it.
I'm sure
how does
they
this
have.
taste? This just basically tastes like a brisk iced tea with just like...
Yeah, it tastes like a boozy brisk iced tea.
That's all.
I would have gotten one of those, but I've had one of those before, and they taste like a watered down version and a little bit more lemony of the if you've ever had the sweet tea vodka that's out there. I forget the name of it, but there's a sweet tea vodka. It tastes a lot like that.
This would honestly be a lot better if it was unsweetened hard iced tea, but that's because I like unsweetened tea.
Well, that's because it would also almost be a lemonade iced tea, and like more lemony than it is right now. It's not lemonade.
Luckily, so I assumed that the ABV on this bad boy would be like 8.
No, it's like regular. It's like regular beer.
Like 5.
That's why it's so sweet. But like, it's not like 4 Loko.
Yeah, like it doesn't
sweet.
taste bad. It just tastes like sugary iced tea. But it's just not like It's just a recipe for a stomach ache, and like I said, if you're already drunk or but you're just be so fucking hungover drinking this crap.
Yep.
I just don't see the point.
100%. Well, you know what? I'm glad you did it this week.
This is 24
for
ounces
the culture.
of diabetes right here. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to finish it. I know some people think that's cheating. I don't give a fuck.
I really wish you didn't say it's diabetes right when I said it's for the culture that you're drinking it. I feel like that's going to age poorly if anyone clips that. But then again, a lot of this show will. So,
that was just bad timing, so that's out of context.
When do we have good timing, bro? Let's be real. But yeah, man. It's exactly what I always describe that as exactly what you think it would taste like.
Yeah, just same with like Mike's Hard Lemonade.
100%. It's exactly what you think it is.
Smirnoff Ice, you can go fuck yourself if you're drinking that. Same with at least do it right and have fucking Zima.
I mean, it's literally the same thing.
I know.
It's literally the same thing. I am not drinking any terrible drinks. I am drinking New English's own, as we've disclosed on the show. Are we still disclosing that every week?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay,
So Chris works at New English Brewing, and I am drinking their Por Favor pills, which I have shown on the show a lot. This is Girlfriend Karen's favorite beer, probably. And yeah, it's just a great Mexican Pilsner. I mean, it's incredibly drinkable. It's fairly affordable, and I fucks with it hard. As a matter of fact, I picked up 2 6-packs as part of the case I got off them. So, yeah, if you guys are at all in San Diego area, or if you are anywhere near Miramar especially, absolutely go swing by Chris's place and pick up some beer. Or if you're within, I think 5 miles is your delivery distance right now.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing the outside delivery thing at this time because we used to do it where
I know you did the 15 miles for a while there, but I think you got cut down during COVID.
Yeah,
or during the later parts, yeah. But they also have like cool outdoor areas. Not that it's usable right now, obviously. But
yeah, you don't. There's so many motherfuckers coming by going, so if I buy a 6-pack,
can I hang out over here? Well,
yeah, sorry, sir, you can't. Well, why not? Because it's not our property and we'd be held liable. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay then.
And also you can't you
dude,
can't just like drink booze in public in San Diego. It's not.
Yeah, you can't legally even open a container that's not served from tap and without there's no
within a boundary. There has to be like
technically they can go
so
to
many
the
dumb fucking booze rules in San Diego, dude. It's very frustrating.
There's this one asshole. He was a regular, but he's a dick. He's an older guy. He's a fucking boomer. He told me I ruined his retirement.
Oh wow! Fuck that guy.
Yeah. He's like, I was like, I ruined your retirement, huh? All right. I'm like, well, you can't drink there. I'm like, you can drink in your car. I'm like, I'm not liable for your car. And then guess what he did? Him and his dumbass fucking boomer friend drank like 3 of them, slammed them in their car. It's like, drive home safely, jackass. Like,
yeah, especially since you guys do have some poundable beers though, but like the over under on one of those being the Imperial Stout is probably not low.
Oh. Dude, there are some folk that will slam the Zoom bar, and
dude, I don't know how you can. I understand it's delicious, but Jesus Christ, that's a big beer.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are way off topic, but I did want to give that a shout out. Also, before we get into anything else, I do have some of the best weed I've ever gotten, so I wanted to give that a shout out. I picked up some Cream of the Crop. Chris, you ever heard of Cream of the Crop?
I don't believe so.
Dude, I hate this camera so bad. I'm getting a new camera this week because I'm so fucking furious with this one. But I picked up Cream of the Crop's Animal Grams, which is, I believe, what is it? Animal cookies and grape pie is the cross. And it's fucking stupid, dude. It's, here, I'll show the percentage even though you guys won't be able to actually read it. But it is a total cannabinoid amount of 35.5%, which is...
Wait, did you just say 35?
Yeah. That's total cannabinoids. THCA is just 34.
So, wait, did you say it's a hybrid? Or, because you're probably not going to do indica because you're going to go night-night, right?
It's a little bit of both, but, like, I've got a pretty good tolerance, number one.
Oh, yeah, I figured that.
And number two, I've been smoking this shit,
but,
also, I've been drinking a little bit less, so I've been up in the indicas because it's a nice balance in between the two.
By the way, I'm already kind of like getting a headache from this shitty twisted tea. I'm not even kidding. What the fuck is this crap? Oh man,
there's a lot of sugar in that shit. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'm not going to interrupt our first segment. I just won't drink, but I have a real beer for next for it's coming up soon.
I have a big boy beer, which we might have already referenced 13 times in this first part, so I will get to that in the second part. But yeah, just cream of the crop stuff in general is fantastic, but this Animal Grams is fucking stupid, dude. It's got that shit where you hit it and you get the immediate eye drop and the fucking chest feeling. It's I fucks with it. So if you guys are in California, I think the cream of the crop's only in California right now. But also, I guess I'm just doing weed shout outs. Coda's cherry sarsaparilla edibles are pretty dope too. I guess Coda is originally out of Colorado, I believe. So because I've been going real hard on weed lately, I figured I would do that shout out as well, since it's fueling the podcast as much as the beers right now. So, Chris, we should actually get into format, probably, right?
Yes.
All right, so we are going to start this off with the MMA podcast we recommend people catch this week. Chris, you want to go ahead and get into it? Because it's been a pretty crazy week. Like, I feel like there's been a lot of stuff released, but most of it... Well, so it's been 2 weeks, technically. So I have a lot of catch-up stuff as well. But a lot of the stuff that's come out in the last 2 weeks has been all award shows or end-of-year discussions, right?
Yeah, most of them, I'd say.
So you want to start us off with your catch for this week?
Yeah, and I'm glad you sent this over to me. I listened to Fernanda Prachis.
Yes, Best Camp of My Life, episode 10.
Yeah, episode 10. I enjoyed this one. I tried to keep track of it because she was talking not too fast, but she was kind of transitioning a little quick. But
she moved real quick, yeah.
She had Heartbreak of the Year. Benavidez loses to Figueiredo. I think it was fight number 2 because of how
devastating it was. Yeah, for the second time.
She mentioned a close second was Anderson Silva getting knocked out by Uriah Hall. That's because of the moment that they had after the fight.
I love the names too. I think it was let's see, Heartbreak of the Year was Joseph Benavidez. Heart Snuggles of the Year might have been the other one.
Yeah, I think that's Silva Hall.
I like the names just because the names are very indicative of what the awards are, you know?
I think like Heart of a Warrior or something like that was for Jeff Neal because the dude had a heart condition and he was on dialysis and was still able to show up for 5 rounds against Wonderboy like just a couple months later.
I think that was either the How Many Goddamn Lives Can This Person Have, Jesus Christ, Please Stop Making Us Look Like Lazy Underachievers award, or the How Are You Still Alive Yet Alone Fighting in a Cage and Stuff award.
I think it was the How Are You Still Alive one.
It was one of the two, yeah.
She had Plot Twist of the Year.
Yep.
John Jones turning on Dana for better fighter pay, even though we know that was a crock of shit.
Well, just like Jorge Masvidal did until he got
she said Habib
pay.
Retiring is kind of a plot twist, but maybe not. She said Shevchenko being human, but that was more tongue-in-cheek because of Rogan overreacting in that Jennifer Maia fight.
Yeah.
But she said, definitely the biggest plot twist was Masvidal having a massive 2019, and instead of just kind of riding on that positive momentum, he instead turns it on its absolute fucking head by just alienating himself with his political views, spreading conspiratorial thinking, COVID misinformation, just totally losing I'm sure he lost a lot of fans, or at least people
misquoting everyone. Fucking
like what was it? A Kurt Cobain quote with
Hitler or Himmler, one of the two.
Yeah,
it was really bad. Also, on top of that, shouts out. We'll get to Verbal Tap MMA later, but Verbal Tap MMA, I believe, gave him the Rosie O'Donnell Award of the Year, which I think is very on point.
She also had Patricio Freire, or Pitbull, as we know him, belongs on many lists of dominant champs, but him being Bellator gets him ignored.
100%. Although, to be fair, because of Bellator's year, he wasn't super active either.
Yeah. Mackenzie Dern accent debate. She just said,
this was the How Is This Still a Thing award.
Yeah, she's like, men are still fixing our accent change over the years. She said,
we've talked about this in the past, but if you're at all bilingual,
faking her accent, since her husband's Brazilian, and she's probably talking to him in Portuguese more or less, more than English.
Well, and she's like, back when she sounded like she mostly spoke with a regular English accent, she also was in high school all day in America. And now she's mostly hanging out and training with Brazilians and living with Brazilians, so... And to be fair, as someone who is not at all bilingual, but is someone who has spoken a lot of Spanish, like you will, anyone who has a family or a parent from a different part of the country, like you'll say things weirdly. Like I say orange. We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah,
my dad's
Jersey.
my dad's from New Jersey, so I say orange. Like, or I try to avoid chocolate as best I can. You know what I'm saying? But so I appreciate Fernanda's consistency on just shouting down everyone who doesn't get that.
It's not like I'm gonna go live in Australia for a year. I come like, hi guys, welcome back to the fucking
Yeah,
Sand of
you're not
Wars."
just gonna sound like a fucking submission radio host when you get back.
Yeah, Casper and Dennis here.
Crikey!
You know, get some Vegemite.
Right.
All right. But yeah, so I know, and I totally agree. I know I kind of did have some fun poking at Durant's accent. I thought it was initially I did think she was faking it. I don't think she is. No, you're not gonna commit. To
I mean,
that.
when you start to realize how many people in her life, well, plus as two dudes who are clearly not bilingual, it's easy for us to forget that, like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Unless her name is Hilaria Baldwin. I don't know if you saw that crazy bullshit. That's fucking...
Well, that's the problem, is that a lot of white ladies have done that in the past. Shouts out to Madonna every 3 years since she was around. So, like...
Yeah, that
I think that's...
so many different faces.
I think when you're attractive and you're a white lady, which... I'm not saying Mackenzie Dern necessarily is. I don't know how that math works out. But I am saying that, like, yeah... It's
that's like that would be perfect for like the racial draft from Chappelle's Show to make a reappearance in like 2021.
Oh, yeah.
And you just have so many candidates for that.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and segue
well, actually, no,
away
that
from,
wouldn't fly.
Let's go ahead and not segue from Best Camp of My Life into Chappelle, because I feel like that's not going to be an appreciated segue. However, I will say the other note I had on this was the Tanner Boser Mullet of the Year award, which I'm not going to tell you who it went to, but you might have an idea.
You said Mullet of the Year?
Yeah, it's the Tanner Boser Mullet of the Year award.
So besides Tanner Boser, I mean, just go.
I'm sorry. Did it have to be besides Tanner Boser? I don't think that was established.
I mean, it's named after him. I'm just kidding. I would guess like Michael Chiesa or some shit, but I know there's like a more obvious one. I can't, or Ricky Simone or some shit. I can't remember. I'm trying to think.
No, you're right, Chris. There's a more obvious winner for the Tanner Boser Mullet of the Year award than either of the people you mentioned. 100%. Perfect. That's a great segue. All right. So I guess I should get into one of my catches for this week, huh?
Yeah.
Because I have a fuck ton. Let's see. I'll start with this is in no particular order as usual. First one I got on my list is the co-main event, episode 433, the CME office party. First off, Sir Nigel joined, which I mean, if Sir, you got this on your list too?
Yeah, he said he's back with herpes.
That's right. It's like, I caught a disease, sir. After he had joked about going around the world and traveling to all the places that were getting COVID, but not ever mentioning COVID. And he's like, no, the disease was herpes. And he has
like, you're just getting it now?
Yeah. He has his Master Tweet Theater of the Year.
Some of those, I heard, like, the quotes, but I don't, for some reason, I couldn't remember here, like, what the fucking name, like, I have on here Dan Severin, and there's something about Arizona State, and then I couldn't.
Yeah, you know what? Really, you owe it to yourself to listen to it. I don't want to spoil it. All I'll say is there's a lot of discussion about.
Let me at least read one.
I was gonna say one thing I had a note on is that they had a long discussion about how the poet Philip Baroni is really elevating the discourse on Twitter, which. Yeah,
they said they're like, wait, is he actually even alive? Who knew?
Phil Baroni on Twitter is doing the weirdest gimmicks, and it's fun 90% of the time. It's horrifying.
I just remember the obvious 10%. One on. I'll do one spoiler from Master Tweet Theater. Worst thing about being a fighter: drinking water. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was one where you're like, bro, and it was 100% who you would think it would be.
Yep.
That person also could probably use some more hydration and less booze in their life, I'm thinking.
Yeah, just
I mean,
oversight on their part.
It'd help them not bleed out as much.
Yeah. What do they say? Whoa, what is happening?
Anyway, let's just not. Let's see. So, Then they got into their CME podcast proper Power Hour Power Player Picks Part 2. Sorry. Which is the segment that they recorded previously that then they fucked up and lost. So then they redid it. Which is basically like their big end of the year, like, I don't know, proper Power Hour Power Player Picks. It's what it sounds like. They just made up weird shit they wanted to give people props for.
Yeah, like Aaron Bronstetter. They gave him a big shout
and his
out.
polite, I believe they described it as his polite Canadian way of being a power player in interviews, especially with Dana.
It's like, was that supposed to be like a pun? Like the power play, like as in
They
hockey?
do this, yeah, no, they name things stupid intentionally, and it's very
Because I wouldn't put
frustrating.
him past that to be that clever.
Yeah, no, they're doing lots of jokes, inside jokes, I'm sure, all the time. I'm sure I'm only picking up on half of them, to be honest.
I know they mentioned Justin Gaethje for kind of the run that he had up for his title fight against Khabib near the end of the year in the fall.
For sure, and they had a ton of categories. They had the "Are you fucking kidding me?" of the year.
Yeah,
Which I think was
God damn
everything
it. That was
Dana
that
said,
Dana
right?
White video of just patting himself on the back and just basically fucking fluffing himself.
Yeah, dude, I'm
Just
so
attacking the
surprised.
media. He was basically just like it was like a Trump fucking fluff piece, but
Well,
he's
I'm
Trump.
just impressed the UFC was brave enough to put out a video of Dana getting his rib removed on camera so he could suck his own dick.
Yeah.
I'm very, you know what? Honestly, I'm impressed and surprised that they had the commitment to show the surgery of him pulling his rib out to suck his own dick on camera, because that's about the same feeling I got from the video.
And it's like, Marilyn Manson, you're taking everything.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, power move of the year: Joe Rogan pocketing $200 million from Spotify.
Power move of the year: Reddit's jokes about Joe Rogan's height.
Oh yeah,
Fucking
or
dude.
that one meme. It's like when you realize Stephen A. Smith is only 5'2", and it shows him.
Oh, there was a great one today when it's like, oh god, I don't want to misquote it, but it's something along the lines of, when you're trying to stand up to comedy or stand up along comedy's greats, and he's like fucking half the height of Whitney Cummings in the hallway of the Comedy Store with all the line of people.
My favorite was whose stand up was worse in 2020, and it showed Ben Askren and then of course
Brendan Schaub.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Talking
layup.
about stand up, never met him.
Yeah, fucking dude, Reddit has gone so fucking hard.
Dude,
on...
I don't know how many like screen grabs I've
Oh
like
my
meant to
God.
drunkenly send to you. Of,
Oh,
like,
you and me both, dude. You're not the only one. My buddy Gio,
Inch.
who the you guys know, super fan of Gio if you're at all fan of Corolla stuff. But yeah, he's always sending me shit from those too. Also, fuck Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura, who did their streaming shit. The streaming shit was with a ghetto ass platform and didn't work for half the people, including my buddy Gio. And they're not even discussing refunds. It was
That's
a
a
New
bummer.
Year's Eve special that they were supposed to stream, and they're not even discussing refunds for it not being unplayable for some people.
That's a real shame.
Also, everybody on Reddit now is discussing how they think Bert Kreischer's a fake drunk and how they're both sham artists. So it's
Okay.
interesting stuff going on. Also, I do think Bert Kreischer's a little bit of a fake drunk. Nobody just drinks Tito's.
Probably exaggerated.
Nobody just drinks Tito's, bro.
Yeah. Also, shout out to my favorite, even though they're the only. I mean, I know there's a bunch of meme pages. Everyone's trying to be like a meme admin and
Oh,
kind of
shop as it gets. That's your go-to,
Shop
right?
as it gets and best casual MMA memes are my two favorites. Are really the only two. But shop as it gets.
That's the OG. Yeah.
Yeah. Best casual MMA memes. It does a good job too. And I actually usually like their takes because you always see the owner of that account or the account page runner commenting like their honest thoughts
that's
on
cool.
some fight matchups, and I'm like, damn, he seems like he kind of agrees with what you and I.
I'm sure he's a motherfucker who is very into this. All those dudes who are if you're making that kind of inside jokes, you have to be a big fan of the sport.
And he likes to really, really troll not just casual fans, but fanboys, just
Anybody who's too big a fan of a fighter.
So, and I'm not putting them like on blast, but easily to pick on McGregor fanboys, Diaz brother fanboys, John Jones fanboys.
Dude, the new one The newest,
Even
easiest.
Adesanya fanboys.
I was gonna say the easiest one now is all the Khamzat stands, which are
Khamzat
everywhere,
stands, yeah.
and he's fought no one except for Jeremy.
Yeah, like the
Stark.
Shop to Get has one. It showed a fortune cookie, and it said on the fortune, positive things will happen to you. And on the next one, it showed him frowning, and it showed a COVID-19 positive.
That's goofy as shit. Anyway, back to CME real quick because I still got a couple notes on this.
Sorry.
No, you're good. This is how this show works, man. This is how we do. Let's see. They had the "Are You Fucking Kidding Me" of the year, which we talked about. Rookie of the year. Of course, the poet Philip Baroni Memorial Award for craziest motherfucker, which of course went to Mike Perry, who's not fun anymore. The most aggressively online fighter. Let's see.
Yeah. So this one, who did they say? So Rookie of the Year, I saw it was between Khamzat or Jamal Hill, I believe.
No. Jamal Hill got mentioned, but I think it was Khamzat and Kevin Holland.
Oh, and Kevin Holland. Excuse me.
You racist.
I mean, Jamal Hill's black.
They did
sure.
also literally bring up Jamal Hill in that conversation, I believe.
Is Phil Baroni still alive? Crazy. Who's the craziest motherfucker 2020?
Right.
And I said no. It goes to Davison Figueiredo.
I mean, he's up there.
I mean-
Well, and then they did wait, did it go to Davidson or did it go to Mike Perry, who's not?
I think they said Davison because
because Mike Perry's not fun anymore. I think is why.
Yeah, no, and I think it's because Davison took that fight against Moreno like immediately, and
yeah, they also had the worst take by your co-host award, which obviously went to Chad for hating. What was it? Lethal Weapon. I think that was Lethal Weapon. Yeah, I think that's the one they watched. Yeah, no, it's definitely Lethal Weapon.
Their favorite movie, if you pay attention like that. I didn't even realize I'm still like paying for Patreon. Which I don't mind. I like supporting them, but I might as well start getting on that movie stuff because I'm such a movie guy. I gotta see what's
they've been
what
killing it with some of the
I know
movies.
There's that movie called Mank or Monk.
Yeah, they did Mank. They did Go recently. They did Rocky 4, bro.
Oh shit,
dude! I'm telling you should step up to that $10 tier.
They have a schedule, I believe, right?
Yeah. It's I think it's every other week they do a movie, or well, it depends on when, like if they're in a run or it kind of depends. But recently they've been doing I think once a week or once every other week they've been doing a movie.
Because I know they did the Watchmen HBO adaptation.
They have all that on there. They have the entire Deadwood one on there,
which I enjoyed a lot. It's unfortunate it got canceled, which is a huge mistake by HBO and Warner Brothers, but whatever. I think they're just sucking off Zack Snyder some more because they're trying to hype up his Justice League cut. That's probably just going to be at best mediocre. But speaking of fanboys,
how dare you, bro? It's going to be so different than every other comic book movie that's just covered in darkness and wetness.
So yeah, it's just going to be the same stylized look of 300, which is all of his movies, just sepia tones and just some little bluish hue, and it's just going to be a fucking Debbie Downer of a movie because there's no happiness. Got it. I mean, maybe it's entertaining with some fluff action pieces, and then just a very, let's call it pretentious third act where it's like, bro, the underlying theme, you don't understand the sacrifice. Zack Snyder's good when he's on. Like, I loved 300. The Watchmen movie he did was pretty cool, but I don't.
It all ages badly.
I can't dig any of the DC shit he did. Like Man of Steel would have been so much better if it was way less dark.
The best part about that movie was the chick I hooked up with in the theater while I watched it in Santa Barbara. Everything else about it was awful, and also we're the only people in the theater, which is how I was able to make that happen.
I mean, what else are you gonna do when it's just like nothing's going on, so you make something happen.
Hey, I did make something happen, Chris. To be fair, it was a girlfriend I was dating at the time, but hey, I made it happen. Anyway, we should keep on moving on probably at this point, since I'm just making dumb jokes. Yeah, co-main event was awesome. I absolutely recommend it. Episode 433, the Christmas party episode, or the Office Christmas party episode, technically. Chris, did you have another honorable mention, or should I keep on moving on with mine?
You can keep on moving on, because this shit's going to make me want to throw this at the wall. I'm actually going to go get a real beer.
So sweet. Right, go ahead and do that, because...
fucking disgusting, dude.
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
I just mute myself really quickly here on Skype, I guess. I'll be right back.
Actually, I can mute you on my side.
Okay, I'll just be right back.
Hopefully, I'll remember to unmute Chris when he gets back. Let's see. Protect Your Neck, episode 237 and 238 is my next sketch. Episode 237 was the top 5 fighters you think you would become, you thought would become champion, but never came close, with Aaron Bronstetter as the guest. It's so tough with these top 5 episodes because I hate giving stuff away on the answers. But all I can say is, have you heard Aaron Bronstetter and Dan Tom interact with each other? Have you watched any of their preview cards? Have you heard a previous top 5 they've done together? It's fucking good every time, and I always love it. They are two of my, they are two of the most underrated nice dudes in MMA media, I would argue. Or at least, just likable dudes in MMA media. And, god damn it, do I enjoy when they interact with each other. Especially since Dan, semi tries to drag Aaron Bronstetter down dark roads. And Aaron Bronstetter will, play along, but then pull the ripcord every once in a while. And it's my favorite. I love those dynamics in general. I mean, a lot of you guys have heard this. A lot of my favorite shows are one dude going completely. It's basically the dynamic of our show. One dude goes completely off the rails, and then one of the other ones pulls a ripcord and tries to get it back on. It's absolutely, episode 237 is a great example of that. I don't even want to name drop names for that episode, really, because there are a lot of ones that you would expect to hear. But I wouldn't do justice to the description, so highly recommend giving that a listen. And then Protecting Neck, episode 238, similar reasons, but this one is a little bit, I would argue, broader of a category, or at least more unassuming of a category, which was the top 5 unassuming killers in MMA. And so the guest was Brad. I'm sorry for butchering your name, Brad, but I think it's Brad Tazchuk. I apologize for that ahead of time. He is one of the hosts of the MMA Analysis Podcast, which we talked about recently, and I actually really have been enjoying. But this was a really funny episode, mostly because they just talk a lot of... They make a lot of really fucking hilarious jokes, and they are not afraid to talk a bit of shit. They talked about how they almost did a fat dudes who have come into the UFC recently, top 5, of the top 5 t-shirt in the pool division fighters kind of thing, which is fucking hilarious. Oh, let me unmute Chris. Hey, I'm glad I remembered that. Shouts out to not drinking as much on the show. Otherwise, someone in chat would have had to tell us.
This is such an upgrade. Oh my lord.
I bet. Here, before I keep going on in this Protect the Neck podcast, Chris, what you drinking?
North Park Beer Company, of course.
Oh, such a big upgrade. Dude, how good is North Park Beer Company lately? Wait, is this a very controversial beer?
Not at all.
Oh,
it's
okay.
actually it's a Pilsner.
I saw the color, so I got concerned it was controversial.
It is a Pilsner, but it is an Italian-style Pilsner called Paisanos.
Oh.
So the Italian style is generally just more dry, and this is the
Dry, and it can be a little peppery sometimes.
This is the epitome of a crispy boy, not a shitty Bud Light. One of these fucking solid beers right here. This is very fucking good.
Does it have the Peroni pepperiness, or just a straight up super crispy lager? Or Pils, rather?
No, it's got back end pepperness, so this is solid.
Does it?
This is really good.
A lot of Italian lagers have that that little bit of spiciness on the end that I love Peroni for exactly.
Dude, I know it's Italian style, but this actually would go really fucking good with some really good pizza and pepper.
Dude, I was gonna say I kind of want to go to there and then go to the neighborhood in North Park. That sounds like a really good combo of fucking
this
flavors.
Is a very solid beer.
That, or you could go there and go to Bronx Pizza, which is arguably
Bronx
the best pizza in the city.
still my favorite pizza spot in all of San Diego. I know some people are like, oh, there's Lunetti's, or Buona Forchetta. No, the Buona Forchetta
is dope. Lunetti's is dope. I mean,
they're very good for.
There's actually,
it depends on your style of Italians. It depends on your Italian style.
100%.
New York style, Buona Forchetta is gonna be more Southern Italian.
Ambrosio 15 is Napoli's, and that's really good.
Yeah, Neapolitan style.
Neapolitan. I mean, I think literally everyone from there is from half that restaurant is from Napoli.
No, easily. It's either margarita or it's just essentially just ricotta with marinara and basil, and then you're fucking good to go.
No, I mean half the people who work there are literally from Napoli.
No. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
No, I know they are because I've talked to the owners, and I actually just got some of their pizza this weekend. We'll talk about that in a later segment, but man, yeah, PB so good compared to CNC when it comes to food. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Protect Your Neck, episode 238. Chris, I don't know if you heard episode 237 with Aaron Bronstetter of the top 5 fighters you thought would become champ but never came close, or episode 238, which was top 5 unassuming killers in MMA that Dan Tom did. But they're both fucking great.
I mean, I unfortunately missed those, but I definitely like content from Dan Tom, especially Aaron Bronstetter.
Yeah,
and I like that they did a segment
they're
about
a good combo.
unassuming killers or you thought this guy would be champ and didn't. And I feel like, I don't want to jinx him, Wonder Boy is kind of nearing maybe a title shot. We'll see.
Wonder Boy was almost on that list for them. I think they qualified like that. Wonder Boy also has like a little bit of a weird, like he was like right on the edge. And so Brad Tashchuk from MMA Analysis Podcast and Dan went through those, and man, they had a lot of really good jokes in this that I'm like, I don't want to repeat because repeating them offhand is going to sound interesting, but let's put it this way. First off, they talked about how they really are missing out on we're all as a culture missing out on the opportunity to see Pandemic Rampage, because based on what he looked like in Bellator recently, seeing him during the Pandemic fight, especially in something like Rizin, would be fucking Jordan Breen's chef's kiss. Fucking incredible. Let's see. Also the three kind of criteria for this episode that they agreed on was they have to be unassuming, they have to not have like obvious cauliflower ear, because like that's what excludes guys like Sakuraba.
So do Ho Choi?
Dude, I'm not gonna say you might have named someone's top pick, but yes, a lot of people like that. And the other thing was they have to have a solid record, because like there's a lot of guys who look unassuming but also don't have a great record, and it kind of doesn't work for top killers, right? So some obvious examples that they did that I'll bring up is like Genki Sudo is like one of the go-tos. Of course, Genki Sudo, tiny dude, pretty unassuming, always had like everybody remembers. I remember him, and a lot of people do, for the We Are One poster that he held up in Pride back in the day. I think it was Pride, not Dream, right? And especially Dan Tom, of course, bringing up the Asians always getting the unassuming label as well. So that was a good one, as well as another obvious pick was Sam Alvey.
I can see that. Yeah.
And then I don't want to give this away, but Dan Tom has an incredible, I'm just going to say, hog analysis and quiet theme that he figures out in this episode that is, I'm just going to say, it carries through in a very relevant way. And I found it to be not only fucking hilarious, but weirdly prescient and in a very weird way. It might change how I think about fights. I might have to start looking at weigh-ins again. Maybe I'm just trying to see dicks. I don't know, Chris. But
I don't know that. Sometimes you
little
gotta take
A, little B, you know what I mean? And then lastly, they had a bunch of good honorable mentions, like the Eve Edwards of the world, where Eve Edwards is coming in with the fucking smiley face on his shorts over his dick and handing people cheeseburgers at weigh-ins, but then fucking people up. So yeah, just a really good episode, and a great example of why the top fives from Dan Tom are awesome is both episode 237 with Aaron Bronstetter and episode 238 with Brad Tashchuk.
The only other one I could think that's like unassuming, and this is obviously not disrespectful because this dude's a straight up killer. As of recent, it would maybe be Brandon Moreno, because he's always smiling and like.
Brandon Moreno's definitely got some of that vibe, that babyface vibe.
Yeah, and he was doing like the fucking Mario Yamasaki shit to Figueiredo.
Of course, I mean, Roxanne Modafferi's got to be like one of the all-time goats of unassuming, right? Although, especially after she started getting terrifying ground and pound. Even more so now, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was another one of my catches. Did you have any others before I get to another one?
Or
do you just have like honorable mentions or can't misses?
Technically, everything I'm gonna mention. Yeah, here's one because I'll say it quickly. I'll say "Believe You Me." They had their 2020 awards.
Yeah, dude, I like this a lot. Actually,
This one is
it's very
pretty good.
goofy, but it's fun.
They're like, so what's worse, calling the awards the Michaels or the Lewises? They're like, clearly Lewis's.
Even Lewis
I know.
said, "Don't call
I don't know if they had a
Lewis's."
live chat or if it was just.
Well, Lewis kept trying to call it the Bimmies.
Yeah.
Which is terrible.
Yeah.
But thank God, I think Harrison called it
Harrington.
Harrington. That thing. I didn't call him Harrison.
They said Harrington needs to stand up for himself in 2021. Then, of course, their first award, because it wouldn't be this podcast without this being the obvious first award, is the hottest MMA fighters. And, of course...
female. You need to add female first.
So they did male as well.
They did both, but they started with female for
female.
a reason.
So the two obvious ones, is let's get out of the way, are Paige Van Zandt and Valerie Loretta. And as they're
those
discussing...
the obvious ones?
That's what they, according to them. But the funny
maybe
part
I just don't like weird
Lewis
looking
is
blondes,
like, he's like, Michael, who are the other bitches? And then he starts laughing. He's like, excuse me, ladies.
Yeah. No, he immediately was like, oh fuck.
Michael was high on Tracy Cortez, Rachel Ostovich, who Lewis doesn't care about, and then Amanda Hebos.
Well, no, he just kept picking people who got cut from the UFC. Is what happened.
Yeah.
Bisping
I think it was Lewis. He said, let's be real. He's like, Michael, you like Ostovich and Paige Van Zandt because they're not actually fighters.
No, let's be real. Bisping likes Paige Van Zandt, wherever the other blonde lady is, because they both look like his wife. That dude has a very specific type. Yeah,
I think that's what he said.
He's talked about. If you've listened to previous episodes with Michael Bisping, you know that dude has a very specific blonde / redhead kind of type.
I would say
actually probably not redhead.
Shouts out they should have nominated Jillian Robertson if you ask me.
I heard. I'm not going to say that on air, but I heard Jillian Robertson's very cool.
Okay, well we'll talk about something off air.
Yeah.
They said best male hottest fighter. Did they just say it's just Paulo Costa? It's like straight up. I can't remember.
I think everybody talked themselves into Paulo Costa just because he's so pretty, even though he's dumb and loses fights.
Yeah.
I might have been editorialized the last part of that.
He's a pretty meathead. So.
I mean, hey, aren't they all?
I mean, they don't call him Ricky Martin for nothing, right?
So.
Right. Then they discussed best knockouts of the year.
Costa is just living the La Vida Loca all the time. Have you seen that dude's lips?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Izzy should have taken advantage.
I mean, he did. That's why Paulo Costa's pregnant.
That's right. Yeah.
I forget who made that joke this week that Paulo Costa is out on leave for pregnancy, but that was it was either Bisping or Conor Bush. I don't remember which one of the two, but it was
fucking great. Whoever it was, that's hilarious.
I hope I'm not miscrediting that. Apologies if I am, but it was fucking hilarious.
Best knockouts of the year: Ngannou versus Rosenstruik is up there. Garbrandt versus Sun Tzu, O'Malley versus Wineland, and I think they said Holland versus Jacare.
I mean, no, there's one knockout of the year. It's one.
Who would you say?
The dude who Mortal Kombated a motherfucker?
Yeah, I mean, you have to go Joaquin Buckley over.
You got to, because it's just so stupid looking.
Yeah, that was just so fucking slick too.
I mean, like there are arguments, but like not the ones they brought up. Like there was
especially the impact of that spinning. Essentially, it was just a spinning back kick, right? But he was just trapped?
Yeah. But he just caught him square in the face off that kick.
Yeah, and it's his consciousness just leave immediately.
Yeah.
like, it's just like that Terry Edom Barboza knockout where it's just like, check please, as you fall backwards.
No, that was... originally I was trying to argue against that just because everybody has recency bias, but over time, man,
I know
there are very close ones, but Cody Garbrandt holding his right hand against the fence until he swings it at Javila Sunsao and knocks him out is not one of them, bro. And I'm so tired of hearing people say that. Go rewatch that fight and watch his right hand go and literally almost touch his back pocket before throwing that fucking punch. It's bad.
Yeah, that's just on a Sunsao. So.
Well, it's also, I get that part of it was him like baiting a level change, but also Cody Garbrandt's a dude who constantly overloads punches and
Like, it was a good knockout.
it was
at the buzzer.
incredible.
It was fun.
But
it was a fun knockout.
technique-wise, it looked not great.
Yeah. I like Holland versus Jacare. That was crazy.
That's also
it was just weird.
that's up there with just like freak show finish kind of thing.
Yeah. Submission of the year. I'm glad they discussed this. They mentioned Mackenzie Dern. I fucking can't remember who it was that she submitted. That was really impressive.
Yo, they the Random Marcos one is it's not that impressive of a sub. However, they did attribute the Ariane Lipsky sub to Mackenzie Dern with the knee bar.
Oh yeah, no, that was.
Didn't they give that to? Didn't they say that was Mackenzie Dern that hit the knee bar, even though it was Ariane Lipsky in that episode? Or am I mixing that up?
God damn it!
Because they talked about how nasty the knee bar was, but
So, Oliveira versus Lee. They mentioned. They said Sterling versus Sanhagen was cool, but it wasn't impressive. It was just quick. I could see that. Michael was very high on what's his first name, Flick.
Yeah. The guy who just fought last weekend. Yeah,
It was
or
a
2 weeks
fucking
ago.
flying triangle, and they said that's clearing away the best submission of the year.
It's up there.
Um,
You got to go with the AJ McKee 100%.
Oh yeah, didn't he like make his own submission?
I mean, no, it's been around, but technically it's a wrestling move, and also
Was that like a key lock?
10th Planet. No. It's like this is gonna be a terrible description, but I'm gonna call it a weird guillotine variation for.
I mean, yeah, I can tell it
for
was a
explanation
guillotine
reasons for you, but yeah, no, it's a thing that's been around in 10th Planet for a while. You've heard Eddie Bravo talk about it. It's been around in some submission stuff. Normally, you see guys transition to it and then into other things, but yeah, you finished with it.
I don't mean to cut you off. We'll probably do this for next week. We do the our awards, our best of.
That's right. By the way, we have our best our MMA
quickly,
Podcast awards next week.
Even though this won't happen unless Scott Coker pisses him off, my New Year's hope would be that AJ McKee makes his way to the UFC. That's all I'm going to say. That would be fun. Holy shit.
I just want to see more AJ McKee in anything.
And that's what I mean. But I
want
want to see him fight a Calvin Cater, a Max Hall. Like, fuck. That'd just be bangers. You know?
Yeah. I just want to see. I want to see him fight everybody.
You know?
He's
Zombie,
really good
like,
and getting better.
Yeah, because he's like, what, 26, 27?
I mean, the thing I'd love the most next year is just crossover fights, for fuck's sake. But that's every year.
Yeah, Dana White's too much of an asshole, and I get it. He doesn't want to give promotion to Scott Coker, and yada, yada,
Well,
yada.
sociopaths hate other people getting attention, so.
Yeah.
But he's, to be fair though, Chris, he's definitely proven me wrong that he's a sociopath with the videos he's put out this year. So,
yeah.
Counterpoint to Dana.
Coach of the year, I believe, is Trevor Whitman.
Excuse me. Well, yeah, might be. COVID Coach of the Year, I believe, goes to Eddie Bravo. Oh no, wait, that was just my own awards.
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
I mean, first
this podcast is also unofficially brought to you by Harry Potter. As it's going.
Oh,
on.
is it? Why are we supporting fucking anti-trans
Oh no, we're not supporting J.K.
homophobic
Rowling.
piece of shit writers?
The Harry Potter film that's on in the background, if you may or may not.
Oh, I can't hear it. Thank God.
That's good. Yeah, no, J.K. Rowling is a piece of shit.
Fuck
All right,
J.K.
now they've gotten out of the way. Best social media presence. I know they mentioned they were really high in Kevin Holland. I know one of them mentioned Conor McGregor, but in my opinion, when I see best social media presence, it's got to be Darren Till.
Dude, especially 2020, Raw
And
Dog
his
himself.
Twitter account got deactivated.
He was so good. Well, to be fair, he did get deactivated for saying not great things.
Oh, yeah.
And being an anti-masker and going like in weird directions on a lot of things that people would disagree with.
Part of me was thinking of trying to order his beer, but I was like, dude, there's no way this beer is good.
Darren Till?
Yeah.
He has a beer?
His Raw Dog beer. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Have you not seen that?
No, we should get Phil Davis's beer, though, for real.
You know what? So let's get Phil Davis's beer, but I will actually reach out to the distributor, and I don't know if it's in Liverpool or somewhere in the United Kingdom, but I do want to try that beer.
Yeah.
And I think you and I should be, we don't have to be together, but at least camera to camera. And,
no, yeah,
and
we could definitely do a review.
I need to send you the video, because immediately he opens it and we're like, what do you think? He's like, he's fucking shite. And
I've actually seen that. Yeah. I forgot. I think you have sent me this, actually, now I think about it.
And I did see someone's comments like, dude, this beer is piss, Nate.
I think that's what he said, too. It smells like piss.
It's like, I mean, just assuming it's probably just like Bud Light.
I'm sure. But, yeah, I'm sure. But we also, maybe we should do a side-by-side Daring Tale Phil Davis beer review. Because Phil Davis is Mr. Wonderful.
I just want the box art. Because I know I'm not going to turn around my camera, but I have like a beer wall of like all these.
Right.
I mean, I guess I could turn it around.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, look. See that?
All the labels?
All the way like up. So that's where it's at now. But I've got a couple more I could add. But this is kind of fun. It's just like a giant fucking beer mural, I guess if you want to call it that.
Hell yeah, bruh.
And as you can see, I got 2 new beer signs facing the old Rona light.
Right. All right, we got to get moving because we are already lagging. Let's see. We're good on Believe You Me, right?
Yes.
That was episode... Here, I got a number for it. Where the fuck are you, bruh? It is BYM... Oh, Jesus Christ. Where? Oh, I lost it. It's around here somewhere. Nope, I fucking lost it on my notes. I'm going to have to go back and find it. It's Believe You Me something. It was on my notes before, but I lost the entire segment.
I'll look it up right now.
Here, I got it. Believe You... No, wait. Chris can do that while I get into the next one.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
283. The 2020 BYM Awards.
That sounds about right. And then let's see. I have, for my next catch, Verbal Tap, episode 441. This was the Verbal Tappies episode with New York Rick. This is my favorite.
He left... Didn't he leave MMA fighting a long time ago right after Ariel left?
Yeah, they both left MMA fighting. I think he works in some capacity for ESPN, but he also works for...
I just haven't heard that name in a while. I was kind of curious.
He's been around. He still works... I believe he still works with Ariel in some capacity at ESPN. And I think he also... I don't know if he still works for Glory or not. I know he did for a while. I know he has a role at ESPN. Because of some of the stuff that comes up in this one. But this is... They do my favorite thing of award shows, which is, if you guys don't know, it's why we do these things with award shows. I fucking hate everybody doing the same categories. It drives me nuts. It's worth nothing. If everybody has the same categories and everybody's talking about the same discussions, then no one's having a unique discussion, and it's worth nothing.
It's just everyone agreeing with each other usually, right?
Or slightly disagreeing, but everyone mostly agreeing. It's very boring. Especially when you hear 14 shows do the exact same discussion. It's so boring. Which is why I absolutely love the Verbal Tap, episode 441, the Verbal Tappies. I'm just going to go ahead and read off some of these categories and nominees. So we got Weirdest Fight of the Year. Some quick... I'm not going to name off every category or every nominee. But Weirdest Fight of the Year, some nominees were Tyson versus Diabetes, and Raymond Daniels finishing a guy in Bellator with 2 spinning back kicks to the dick. Let's see. I remember that. Choice Dana moment of the year is Fuck You Media, we're doing Fight Island. Fuck You Media, we're not doing Fight Island. Fuck You Media, we're firing these fighters. And Dana at the RNC. Let's see. Most disappointing moment of Fight Island. Didn't look like Mortal Kombat. Wasn't outside. Not an actual island. And not one shark.
That was so cute when so many people were like, "You're not fighting outside."
Dude, why? You know how many people yelled at me on Twitter about how fucking that I need to stop being such a goddamn angry person about Fight Island? They're like, bro, you need to wait and see. They're gonna do something cool. Like, it's gonna look like every other show because every show looks like every show. They don't do that. Also, you can't do an outdoor event in Abu Dhabi in the summer, you fucking momos. I need to stop using that phrase. Let's see. Most creative explanation.
Okay, didn't we find out that means something bad?
I mean, it doesn't mean something good, I'm sure. Most creative explanation for losing a fight. They had Dom Cruz, Keith Peterson, and Deontay Wilder.
Oh, God.
And then
I'd say... Sorry,
yeah.
I'll let you finish.
Go ahead.
Deontay Wilder one is so fucking stupid.
Oh, no.
That just has to take the cake.
100% the most creative explanation for losing a fight. I found out in, I believe it was it Heavy Hands? I believe it's Heavy Hands, so we'll get to it in a bit. But it's 100% Damir Hadzovic. We'll get to it, but boy.
Because I will say one thing. So you watched Tyson Fury when he fought Deontay Wilder, right? You notice how Tyson Fury was brought out on a throne?
Yeah.
Which led to Deontay Wilder having to stand for like 10, 15 minutes. So just yesterday, Ryan Garcia, also known as the Instagram boxer, good for him, he's making millions off Instagram, fought Olympic gold medalist, British fighter, Luke Campbell.
I paid zero attention to that.
It was a very good fight. Luke Campbell dropped him. Almost knocked him out.
Oh, shit.
It's the first time Garcia had ever been dropped.
Yeah, Garcia was a huge favorite going into that.
Yeah, and then Garcia turned it up, was just mixing up with just the combos. His speed is fucking bananas, especially at that weight. Just in general, his speed, his left hand is lightning. You'd have to. The hype is real. I'll say, and he ended up knocking out Luke Campbell with a fucking vicious liver shot. However, my point is, he also went out on a throne. So does that mean Luke Campbell's getting tired just standing there 15 minutes? I doubt it, because they all have good cardio. But maybe people should start going on.
I was going to say, it means Conor McGregor's the only fighter who's going to be allowed to come out on a throne in the UFC.
Yeah. But
if anybody needs cardio help...
Yeah. My point is, boxing is at a very good but also terrible place because of certain shitty influencers that I will never mention on this podcast. But,
yeah.
No,
we're never even going to say their names.
Their name does not deserve to be mentioned.
Nope.
But good for Ryan Garcia. Very impressive win. I'm really excited to see if they'll match him up against another top 135 like Devin Haney, or if they're just going to throw him to the wolves with Gervonta Davis. Or even Teofimo Lopez, but I think they're gonna have Lopez fight Lomachenko again. That's what I would do. That was a really fun fight. Sorry, just had to do the quick boxing thing because that was a big fight that happened last night or yesterday. So.
No, you're all good. So my other catch for this week, real quickly here. I'm not gonna get too much into it because really you should just go and listen to it. I'm such a big fan of this podcast, and one of the things I really enjoyed this week was all of the coverage that Drake Riggs and Pat Auger and JHK, who I'm not going to say JHK's name until I look at my notes because I always fuck up where the Y is in his name. But I'm a big fan of all those dudes. John Hyun Ko. They all had some incredible Rizin content this week, and I just wanted to give them a shout out for it. And one of the ones that is really notable is Broadened Horizon. This was episode 6. This is the show that Drake does. We've talked about this in the past recently because we were a big fan of. I think I had you listen to this, but essentially Drake does interviews with a lot of fighters, and he'll do a lot of them speak Japanese, and then he'll have Shingo the I believe Shingo. Don't quote me. This is all what I've picked up on just through us in podcast. I believe Shingo is the PR dude for Rizin in the US, if I understand that right. And so Shingo will do the translations for the fighters. So essentially, Drake will do an interview and they'll do that classic kind of documentary style thing where you start hearing the Japanese, they fade the Japanese, and they do the English translation over the Japanese. But what I also found out is they actually do a Japanese audio version as well on mymmanews.com, which is like just a straight Japanese version, which is cool as hell. So yeah, it was just really neat. He interviewed Kai Asakura. He's interviewed most of the people who fought on the recent Rizin cards. I know he had an interview with Yamamoto about the title fight and getting married, and yeah, just a really, really good interview, and one of many great shows that that Drake did in the lead up to the Rizin 26 event. So, yeah, Broadened Horizon. Like, there is not a lot.
Was that the preview thing that I watched?
No, that's a different one. We're gonna get to that on our new show. But he was part of that as well, though. He was the dude with the mustache. If you watch the YouTube version.
Yep. Yeah.
With a classy ass mustache, I might say myself.
It was a good looking mustache.
Yeah, no, that dude is slick as hell. But no, 100%. I've really been enjoying people who are doing Rizin content because there's not a lot of it out there. Like, especially English Rizin content. I mean, it's few and far between, and it's very inconsistent outside of one or two shows. And one of those shows, I think, had problems with us back in the day. So, but I think they died a long time ago, so I'm not that worried about it. But yeah, it's very cool hearing Drake do all the interviews, and it is my go-to resource for Rizin content. Like, if you want a solid preview show with, I think it's 4 guests that he normally has on per episode, and he'll go through and talk to them about the upcoming fights. That's absolutely the place to go. So, absolutely listen to Broaden Horizon, episode 6, which I think is on MyMMAnews.com, as well as you can find it on Loudmouth MMA Network, I believe. So, yeah. Hella good.
Nice.
Let's see. Do you have any skips for this week?
Oh, yeah. I had the unfortunate pleasure. Oh, fuck. I fell down a rabbit hole on RMMA. On Reddit.
Oh, no. What Brendan Schaub's show did you listen to?
Not that bad.
Rogan?
Ariel Helwani. It was like his
Really?
2020 recap, but he did a fucking, like, in the style of some shitty Christmas or holiday song. And it was like 4 minutes long. I only got to about 30 seconds. But it is. Yeah.
Wait, 4 minutes of how long?
It's bad.
Oh God! I
singing.
just found it.
It's him
I just
singing.
found it.
Yeah.
Well, first off, it starts with Chael's son and pointing with double thumbs at himself on the side, and then Ariel saying. So, this is the Ariel Helwani sings his tribute to MMA in 2020. I recommend you don't. I think this is the first video on YouTube I've ever given a downvote to. And I recommend you don't listen to that, because that seems... I heard 2 vowels and I'm out.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, no, it seems real bad. Well, I would have a skip this week, except I have not chosen to listen to any Joe Rogan podcast or Brendan Shaw podcast, so... Hey, Drake Riggs dropping in chat. Hold on, Drake Riggs dropping in chat, talking about his much appreciated mustache love. Drake's been killing it. I've been saying on Twitter for a while, and we've talked about Drake's shows in the past. He also hosts the WM. Oh, I'm gonna fuck up the name of this. It's the WMA something. This is what happens when I have to fucking remember things on air. It's the Drake. Drop the name of your WMA show in the chat, because it's fucking awesome, and I always forget the name of it.
What's the Twitter handle for him?
That is also a good point. I will go ahead and do that as well.
You said Drake Rig, or is it Riggs? Because there's a lot of Drake Riggs.
It is DRAKE DRAKERIGGS_ Drake Riggs on Twitter. It is WMA Today. Thank you. Fuck. I knew I was very close to it.
Oh, there's a mustache. I see it.
Yeah.
Y'all give him a follow.
We've been a big fan of Drake Riggs here for a while, so very cool seeing you swing by. And you know we've been loving the Rizin content. You've seen me in chat. You know we're loving it, and it's about to come up a whole bunch here in a minute. All right, so let's see. Anyway, back into this. Chris, do you have any can't miss episodes for these last 2 weeks?
I mean, co-main is probably up there. I guess I should really just say Heavy Hands is up there.
I mean, Heavy Hands episode 349. Absolutely is one of my can't misses. Foreplay 2020 is, I believe, the description.
I didn't have as much notes on here as you did.
Sure.
I'll quickly mention I like how in the beginning they say, or they state, they really ask. They just state Mike Perry has gotten worse at MMA by his own choice. Who has taken over pad work for Mike Perry? And they went back and looked at the Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall fight, and they said, "Wow, he really is punching like a girl."
I mean, not even like they specifically
meant
went out of their
like a
way to
girl.
say
Not
like,
like a-
yo,
they
I
didn't
don't
say
mean
like a-
meanly like a girl. I mean like if you were to do a cartoon version of punching like a girl,
Yeah.
that's what he looks like he's doing. He's just, and I actually went back and watched some of that fight because of the MMA Depressus, which will come up in a minute. But yeah, man, he lost all punching form at some point recently. It's crazy. He just doesn't throw punches right.
Like I said, it's
all
easy
arm punches.
As easy as it is to make fun or light of someone who kind of say makes a fool of himself for some whatever reason or whatever the fuck they're going through, I do sincerely hope the dude gets help. I hope he gets help.
Yeah, or I hope he helps everyone else by not being around anymore. One of the two.
All I can say is good luck to him. Man. I just don't want the dude to hurt himself or hurt someone else. That's about.
I don't want him to hurt anybody else. Let me put it that way.
That's mainly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough, especially that fucking video.
I know. I'm also that guy who's like, I have too much. Have you guys seen the Doug Stand Up poster in the background? I have a little bit too much of that inspiration in my world to not just want everybody like Mike Perry to be on an island at least. But anyway, we'll keep on moving on. We should more inherently focus on how fucking good the foreplay to the handies are. This isn't even the handies. To be honest, this honestly could have... This is partially, honestly, me also preemptively adding the handies next week onto our Can't Miss. They have not come out yet, but it's my favorite award show every year. Chris,
I know we've...
almost all of our lists of best episodes.
They've got like what, number one for us 2 different times.
No, we're huge Heavy Hands fans, and especially of the handies. Even back to the Pat Wyman days when Connor Rebush, Pat Wyman would try and, verbally fist fight over, because they're not physically fist fighting, but they were definitely verbally fist fighting over whether or not whatever juicy boy Pat Wyman loved would get in or not. But it's just some of my favorite awards, and it was really cool to hear. Not only did they get a ton of nominations from like everybody listening, but they essentially did a giant what they call an honorary awards or quick hits or stubs and flubs kind of edition of just like one-off awards that aren't worth adding to the real show but are worth talking about. And so it's just, I'm just going to rattle them off because they were all hilarious. Stuff like the Cody Garbrandt Why Don't You Learn Award, the Bizarre Housing Award for fighters housing.
Houdini.
Oh, thank you. Fucking autocorrect.
Bizarro Houdini.
Yeah, the Bizarro Houdini Award for fighters who eat body shots without issues. Most compelling weight class. Most consistent useless technique, which you guys saw in the intro with Paris mule kick. That is maybe my favorite strike of all of 2020 because it's so goofy looking.
Donkey kick.
Yeah, the Tito Ortiz Wordsmith Award. Chris, you got any of these?
I didn't really. You wrote down.
I still have a bunch. I didn't even write down all of them, but they're all great. The names alone are good, and you know who won most of them. The Twist the Knife Award. I believe at one point Connor yells about O'Malley. Oh, I believe O'Malley won that, and he was like, "Yo, I smoke weed. How often do I talk about it, Phil?" Which is one of my favorite moments. The Oh No Bud, What Happened to You Award. The Jussier Formiga Award for good fighter most likely to get cut next year.
Oh no.
The Overeem's Lip Award for most horrific injury. It's one of those award shows where it's like, not only does no one else have these categories, but it's just a lot of fun, and it leads to a lot more interesting discussions that aren't just the same thing you've heard on every other show. So it's an easy pick for me as a can't miss. Just like the handy, or just like the, so unfortunately, because next week we're doing our award show, we're not going to have a regular like catch, can't miss, all that stuff. So I'm, again, preemptively, I would add the handies from Heavy Hands as well to my can't miss for this week. I think, Chris, you'd probably agree as well, right? Like,
yeah, 100%.
Dude, it's one of those ones every year that, like, if you don't feel like this was a good lead-in to an award show, I don't think you like the same kind of award shows I do, you know? Let's see. I got MMA Depressed Us, episode 54. Chris, did you catch any of this?
Fortunately not. And I'll have to come clean in a bit of why I missed a lot of stuff, but it's for selfish reasons. But
I mean, it's the holidays. That shit happens. The only reason.
no, it's not because of the holidays. It's my diehard fandom. I don't know. I don't have to, we're on an MMA show. I'll tell you off air.
There you go. We'll get to it. But anyway, so one of the things that I really enjoyed, and it's been literally 8 months since they've done an episode. The MMA Depressed Us, episode 54.
It's been 8 months?
It's been 8. I'm pretty sure.
I almost thought you were about to say, like, fucking The Morning Wood Show.
Let me double check. Episode 52. No, you're right. It hasn't been that long. Episode 52 was in May. Episode 53 was in July.
It's Zane Simon and
Zane Simon, Connor Rebush, and Phil McKenzie.
Oh, it's the three of them.
Yeah.
Excuse me, that's right. That's like that. I knew it was. I had like 2 out of those 3. So it's all 3.
They literally did since March. They've done 3 episodes, and this is the 3rd. I believe it's been 6 months since they've done one, essentially. And oh boy, is it a hell of an episode! It is the Holiday Edition 2020 Year-End Review Part 1. Man, I don't even want to give this stuff away because some of it's so fucking funny. They watched John Vellante versus Maurice Green. If you guys remember that instant classic where John Vellante tapped via arm triangle from the top.
Dude, he was like so tired he couldn't even move out of like position.
It's so much worse. It's so much worse than you think it is, dude. It's so much worse than you think it is.
Oh god.
Going back and watching it, it looks so much worse. Also, he's sweating so hard, and the yellow lighting makes it look like there is literally just olive oil coming off of him. It's
is that because he's Italian?
Yeah, well, yes, but also because he loves pizza. I'm pretty sure at this point. Fucking Jesus, it's so good. Then they watch Diego Sanchez versus Mickey Gall.
Oh, wow.
Yep, that's right. Diego Sanchez
They're really
out here.
Good at their picks.
Yeah, I believe They described Diego Sanchez.
Might as well do Diego Sanchez versus Michelle Pajeda too.
I mean, you're really close. You're really close. But Diego Sanchez is out here. I believe they describe him looking at like a homeless man. No, I'm sorry. It's not Diego. It was Diego versus Michelle Pajeda. I'm sorry. I'm totally mixing these two up. It's Diego versus Michelle Pajeda because the next fight is Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall. Which is also terrible. No, but yeah, Diego came out to the Michelle Pajeda fight looking like a homeless man who just wandered into your house and a surprise turned the lights on, I believe was the description they gave.
Oh, I remember my friend Jake, friend of the podcast, he like texted me. Victor was like, dude, are you watching this right now? He's like, can you believe how Diego looks? And I think I was at work and I was like busy and I like glanced at my phone. I was like, dude, what the fuck? And I was like,
it was bad, man.
Because I remember I had watched The Embedded. Just like his, and of course let's all blame his coach, which I'm not going to say his name because
Oh yeah,
that asshole.
Yeah. Fuckface.
Con man.
Yeah. Jesus. I almost threw his last name out. I was like, I don't even want to do that. To be fair, some great.
Oh, and shouts out also to Matt Serra calling that dude out like earlier this year. Really that was awesome.
Let's see. Oh, at one point, I believe the line was thrown out that Diego's an artistic soul, and right now he's Pajeda's canvas. It's a lot of that.
If you'd seen an episode from South Park just a year ago, that would be an autism joke.
Oh no! # Team Spectrum.
Yeah, I guess I'll spoil it, but essentially, if you take Cartman believes if you take a vaccine, he does not want to become artistic.
Right. I got you. That sounds like a South Park joke for sure. Speaking of South Park jokes, Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall was essentially a South Park joke, that was the last one they did. It's embarrassing, but there's a lot of good humor in it, so definitely recommend that. And then lastly, for my can't misses this week, Chris, did you have any other can't misses before I get to mine?
No, not that I wrote down.
Okay, so my other one this week was the Body Lock Rizin 26 Intermission Show Part 1 and Part 2. Y'all heard Drake Riggs in chat earlier, and oh my god. All I have to say, Pat Auger went full cup of noodles on both intermission shows. Motherfucker is sitting there in a cup of noodles costume, breaking down the fights, talking about middleman getting absolutely bodied inside of a round, and it's just the best shit. Shibatar? Have we talked about Shibatar yet? Chris, I can't wait to talk to you about Shibatar later. Fucking
It sounds
Shibatar,
like a Pokemon
bro.
or a Digimon.
He basically is a I hope he's a Pokemon soon, to be honest. That motherfucker with his... This has got to be a Pokemon.
Or it sounds
movie
like
right here.
Shibatar sounds like it'd be something related in Rugrats to Reptar.
I mean, all of these are apt comparisons, to be honest, in a fucking weird way. I don't even... It's so cool to see someone actually doing not only an active Rizin show, but like one that's active during the intermissions, because it's so needed. Anyone who's actually been... Oh, no way, Drake, you really planned that out with the cup of noodles? I don't know if you could tell. I lost my goddamn shit in chat when I saw Pat come in with a cup of noodles looking sweaty as hell. Oh, it was hilarious. So that's so funny. But yeah, it's so needed for Rizin because there's those long fucking breaks and everybody passes out. Like, you've done it, I've done it, we've all done it. We've recorded shows where we passed out you passed out on air during one of those breaks one time, I think.
Yep.
So like it's just one of those things where it's really tough. So it's so cool to see someone not only taking advantage of that space but doing cool stuff with it, and just being knowledgeable and having interesting discussions. So big shouts to Drake, big shouts to Pat. I love what they're doing with that shit, and I'm a huge fan of it. So yeah, and also Rizin was fun as hell. Like it wasn't nearly the most stacked. You guys know, if you've listened to the show for a long time, I'm a big fan of the Rizin New Year's events. Like I think we've done a couple of them live on air before back in the day, with questionable substances involved. Shouts out to Common McLaughlin in chat. Those two statements are two individual statements. Oh, I just punched my mic. They're two individual statements. I did not mean to segue to Common McLaughlin straight off a drug reference, but now that I have, no, but my joke is, or my point is rather, I'm a big fan of the Rizin shows, and it's cool to see somebody taking advantage of all that dead air and dead time on those things, because Jesus Christ, does Rizin not do that? So perfect, man. Well, let's see. So, Chris, I want to get into our new show real quick, which I believe you did listen to some of. And that is SCMP, Episode 12, which is South China Morning Post, Episode 12, which is John Hyun Ko's show that he does with Nick Atkin as the host. And Drake Riggs and Tom Taylor sat in as a guest. And it's basically a big old Rizin preview show, as well as they talk about some recent events and stuff. But what'd you think about it?
So was this the preview or the recap? Because I think
I sent you both. I don't know which one you listened
So
to.
I watched the recap one for sure.
Okay, cool. So I only saw
watched
the preview, so I'd love to hear the recap.
The recap stuff, I watched a little bit of it, and they mentioned how I remember they were like, "Oh, how old are you guys in 1999?" And I think Drake's like, "Oh, I was like 4," and they kind of shit on him.
Yo, Drake's real young. I'm not gonna lie. I think you have a couple years on him, which is impressive.
I mean, I was 8 years old, which is still young, but yeah, it was just kind of funny because I think the other hosts were all like 9 or 10 or 8 or something like, I don't know. They're all like in their early mid-30s.
Hey, shouts out to Dan Tom dropping in chat too. We got everybody we're talking about up in here.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was a little distracted with some other things when I was listening to it, but I definitely listened to some of the recap stuff that had to do with a certain fighter. Well,
okay, but before you get to any of that, we have a pressing question in chat that you have to immediately atone for and fix next week, which is Dan Tom is dropping in, Chris, with a pressing question. Journalist of the Year, Dan Tom. He's dropping in to ask you the hard-hitting question. Have you watched Irreversible yet?
Not yet.
But by our award show next week, you're going to end it with an Irreversible review, right?
Yeah, I can do that. Fuck it.
Beautiful.
I already have like every other day off, so
We are going to absolutely take away any good fucking positive energy from any of that award show next week by you ending it with a review of a horrific movie. But really,
dude, like
that's why we're delinquents, right, Chris?
I'm already a delinquent. As much as my outer shell doesn't represent that, and I'm not going to get personal with shit, but either way, when it comes to a movie that someone tells me what to expect, dude, I already kind of just go in with specific expectations.
Sure, you
don't
can
get me
do
wrong,
that. It's not going to help.
No.
This one's different.
I anticipate that. Yeah, I'm probably not going to enjoy the film, but I don't mind.
Well, you
might, because I'm very candid. I like to kind of just be honest, and yeah, I'll be honest. If I fucking hate it or it's a bummer or whatever, it makes me feel like shit. That's fine. It's just part. It's fucking ebbs and flows, you know.
To be fair,
just go with it, man.
Yeah, to be fair, Dan.
I mean, I can't. Like I said, the most depressing film I've ever seen. The two of them, but it's off the top of my head, in the modern era was this Train Spotting and then Requiem.
Oh, perfect.
I didn't watch all of Requiem because I was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, boy, bro. Oh, boy.
But I did watch all of Train Spotting, but it was a good film. But yeah, you just kind of get what it is. So.
Well, if you tap out on Requiem, just let me know how long past the hallway you get in Irreversible is my question. Or actually the fire hydrant, if we're being honest. If we have a series of events,
now I'm actually kind of hyped for it.
Don't. That's bad phrasing. I would rethink that.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be famous last words. Chris
what I'm saying is not things you should be hyped for. Although I will say Dan Tom is giving you some credit that it's not a Christmas movie, so watching over Christmas is a tall fucking order. That's hilarious, though.
I think you're just doing everyone else a disservice unless you're watching by yourself. Then you're just making your Christmas shitty. So,
well, there you go. That's hilarious, though, that Dan Tom dropped in to ask that because I honestly forgot. You reminded me.
I actually kind of almost forgot about that.
I did too. So I'm glad Dan dropped in to remind us because that's definitely happening next week. Oh yeah, Dan dropping Dude, Dan, you and I both made a Requiem reference within 2 weeks of each other. Jesus Christ. We're delinquents, bro. That's a bad... I literally did the Anderson Cowan... Fucking... It's bad. It's bad. Anyway, wait, what was it? We were not talking about Requiem for a Dream. Oh, right. We were talking about
the...
right, the South China Morning Post episode that John and Co. did with Nick Atkin, Drake Riggs, and Tom Taylor. It's a great Rizin 26 preview that I listened to. JHK, has a really solid background with the breakdowns. Dude is very knowledgeable about the scene. And it's interesting to hear him kind of give a more in-depth, detailed view on a lot of fighters who a lot of people don't know about off the top of their head. And then, then there's other random stuff like Vitor calling out Jake Paul, shit like that. Shima dropping out.
Oh, you didn't say his name, you asshole.
Oh, right. Vitor calling out that one fuckface.
It's fine.
I won't do it again. Anyway, Chris, what you said you listened to a little bit of the recap of that?
Yeah. So the main thing that I fucking can't remember where Horiguchi's training. It's somewhere in North America. I assume it's the USA. It was ATT.
Yeah, he has a fucking hall named after him. I
swear to fuck, it's ATT.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah, Mike Brown was in the corner.
The main talking point that I kind of circled notes around is him training in the USA prove that the best coaching is in North America necessarily. Does that really translate to other fight promotions based on his success in the UFC and in Bellator and now in Rizin? Where is his next fight? Is it in Bellator and another cross promotion battle or matchup, I should call it? Or does he find himself in the UFC? I don't think Dana wants anything to do with that. He'd probably say, go fuck yourself.
I don't know, man. They're rebuilding that 25 division. Horiguchi's a player.
Dude, him versus Figueiredo would be
I don't think they could pay him what Rizin will pay him, though.
Yeah. Well, then again, did you see what Figueiredo came out and said today? He's like, well, I haven't got pay-per-view points in my last 2 title defenses.
He never will. DJ never did. It's fucking DJ.
Yeah.
I think Henry maybe did.
Like we hate to admit, I think the only way... I mean, there's probably never going to be a unionization. I I think I still say this. The only person that can really do that, ironically, would be like a Conor McGregor to come forward and say, "Hey, fuck you, Dana. Pay everyone what they deserve."
I mean, there's only been one fucking fighter brave enough to do it yet, and it's the reason why she's the goddamn logo of our show.
Exactly. But you know what I mean? That's the irony, the sad irony of it. It would take a Conor McGregor, someone like that, and I think.
Well, yeah, it would take somebody who's not willing to lose the money a lot of times.
Yeah,
or time.
Even if McGregor went out and kind of say he did that, right?
I mean, at this point, he doesn't have the leverage.
No. Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Dana would be like, well, there's no leverage, and I'm just going to call your bluff. Or even if you're not bluffing.
They don't need him right now.
Yeah, you're not going to fight. That's what he would just say, yeah. So, okay, you're not fighting then.
Yeah. That's why he's fighting Poirier, and that's why it's not a title fight, so they don't have to pay him actual title fight money. They can pay him what he's already on his non-title fight contract as. Same thing he was on with Cerrone, because if it was a title fight, they'd have to renegotiate deal. That's why that's 100% why it's not a title fight.
It's a shame, too.
It's the easiest math.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. I mean, it's important to discuss. Obviously, it's fucking embarrassing. It's a shitty stain, just on the sport. It's all bad, dude.
Shocking. Yeah, I agree. The entire organization tends to be a shitty stain on the sport, despite their best efforts early on. Anyway, I guess I should rattle off a bunch of honorable mentions here. Chris, you got any? I think we've gone through probably some of yours, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't work. I'm like brain dead.
I've got a ton, so here I'll just start rattling them off. Let's see. So things I listened to this week that were dope. Verbal Tap episode 440. You guys will hear on the intro or on the break coming up. Chase Hooper is not only hilarious. Chase Hooper's out here making drug jokes on podcasts. What? Yeah, it's real good. You'll hear it in a minute. Heavy Hands episode 348 was really solid. Coast to Coast Combat Hour, December 29th, 2020, the eve before the eve. They had Hunter Homestead on, talk about how, I forgot to mention this in the news segment, that Hunter Homestead is starting a new podcast with Dwayne Finley. It's going to be called the Bow and Glow MMA Show, that's huge fucking news, because it's essentially the old school flow combat dudes the old school flow guys starting an MMA podcast on the Brawl Network. So I am definitely at my eyes peeled for that. A lot of old school MMA talk on that episode, and just a really good one. So definitely recommend it. Severe May, the 2020 Irish and International Severe May Awards are very solid. It's Sean and Graham hanging out talking about the votes that were put in by a panel of Graham, Shawnee, Carl Pendred, Andy Stevenson, and Kaposa, and stuff like Worldwide Fight of the Year, Sub of the Year, KO of the Year, Irish Male Fight of the Year, Irish Female Fight of the Year, Irish Gym of the Year. So pretty good variety to it, and it was all interesting. Early Stoppage 2020 for December 24th, the All MMA Teams episode. Craig and John Franklin go through and they talk a bit about the Dana White video where he sucked his own dick on camera. And then I shouldn't do that to other people's podcasts. That's just the bit that I'm doing on my podcast. He talks about how he went through and congratulated himself on film. They talk about Askren fighting a blank, and they talk about the World MMA Award weird picks and how fucking trash they were. Also, speaking of the Fight Nights picks team of Craig Allen and Craig Allen, Matt Allen, and John Franklin, they also did their 2020 MMA Awards picks for Male and Female Fighter of the Year, Male and Female Champ of the Year, Most Improved, Comeback, Rookie, all that stuff, and it was solid. Wrestling for MMA, episode 18. Really enjoyed. It was really cool hearing Ed Gallo go in detail on the difference between folk style and freestyle. This on a slower week, this would have probably been a catch for me. If not, I can't miss. It's really interesting hearing him talk about, because this is something we've talked about a lot on the show, Chris. The more I listen to podcasts from wrestlers, especially this is something Ben Askren used to talk about a lot on his old shows, is the difference in the games of folk style wrestlers versus freestyle wrestlers, and why guys like Yoel have less success holding people down versus guys like Askren who grew up, working leg rides and like the difference in the rule sets and how they translate. So that was really interesting. Also, Wrestling for MMA episode 19 was really solid also, where Ed goes into more detail about kind of what makes a good prospect for MMA when it comes to wrestling. So stuff like how some Greco-Roman wrestlers having trouble being like good or bust in MMA in general. Guys like Marco Madsen that he scouted. So,
hey, Marco Madsen, real quick, is he hurt? I haven't heard from that guy in a while.
I want to say he was, but also I don't know how much of that shit is also just like weird, like visa stuff right now. Because like he's in a I don't know.
He's
Swedish,
Danish
like
Olympic
that?
medalist, right?
Yeah, something like that. I think you're right. I think he's Danish.
I know he medaled.
Yeah, I think
he
you're
was
right.
a silver medalist. Either way, it's
I don't remember
impressive
off the top
as
of my
fuck.
head, but yeah. Let's see. Speaking of more Fight Site stuff, the Fight Site MMA Podcast, episode 31. More big news. I forgot to mention this in the news segment as well. The Fight Site MMA Podcast right now is changing hosts. Danny Martin is moving on to become a firefighter and an EMT, which is pretty big news. So big shouts out to that dude. I mean, I don't think anybody is anything but supportive of that kind of shit. Good on him, and the world could use more of you. So big shouts to Danny Martin, but it looks like Ed Gallo is going to be stepping in for Danny going forward with Saram. So that'll be interesting. And then also in this episode, Ryan Wagner sat in, Catboy himself, to talk a bit of, just kind of do a big recap, because they haven't done an episode, I think, since towards the end of October or so. So they talked Fig Moreno and why it wasn't a draw. They talked Oliveira versus Ferguson, the best and some of the best unathletic fighters of all times. Yeah, really good episode. Fights Gone By, episode 248 was really solid. Always love me some Jack Slack, especially when he's talking anything about Thompson or Aldo. 6th Round Retro, always good to see these guys back. UFC 118, they took a look back at BJ versus Frankie 2. That was a lot of fun. We talked Believe You Me, but I don't know if we talked Believe You Me episode 481 with Darren Till as the guest, which was pretty cool. Darren Till is a goofy motherfucker and very funny. And then SWAT MMA, episode 86, Smoking Weed and Talking MMA. They do an end of the year award show for boxing MMA. Pretty standard categories, Coach of the Year, Card of the Year, Sub of the Year, that kind of stuff. But I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Cool, man. Well, we will go ahead and take a break here, and then when we get back, we're going to do a very brief recap of Rizin 26, and then depending on where we're at time-wise, we might talk a little bit about a certain comedy special if we can fit it in. I don't know if you've had any chance yet, Chris.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe we will watch the first 15 minutes of a comedy special on this break and then be right back. I feel like that's the move. All right.
Yeah, I'm down.
Well, we will be right back. And until then, you guys can listen to this clip of, oh God, what is our clip? It is Verbal Tap, episode 440. Y'all want to hear Chase Hooper talk about drugs? Yeah, me too. Here you go.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock
He's
guy.
the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty, finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus, because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
by the sound of violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock
He's
guy.
the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty, finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
By the sound of violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock guy.
He's the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty. Finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock
He's
guy.
the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty, finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus, because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock guy.
He's the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty, finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus, because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
by the sound of violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock
He's
guy.
the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty, finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus, because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock guy.
He's the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty, finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus, because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock
He's
guy.
the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty, finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
Liked by the sound of violence.
Has anyone reached out grappling wise that shocked you?
A cool one was Dean Lister actually DM'd me. I was like, that was surprising. He's kind of the OG leg lock guy.
He's the mayor of leg attacks. He's the leg attack mayor reached out to you.
He's literally the guy that's like, oh, why ignore 50% of the body? To be honest, though, it did feel a little dirty, finishing a heel hook. I told my coaches, hopefully I don't get, the bonus because then I'll have to spend it all on, drugs and stuff. You can't spend that money on, non-illegal things, obviously. If you get it for a heel hook, at least.
All right, everybody, we are back. Oh wait, that's your line.
Yeah, we are.
There you go.
We are back to quickly recap
And to sorry, go ahead.
Rizin 26. No,
You nailed it. And we are also here to pay memoriam to Adam Hunter's comedy career, maybe.
It ended as it started. It was a.
That's not true, though.
I know it's not true.
UFC killed his career, much like they have many a young athlete. Not that he's young or an athlete. We'll get to that here in a bit. To be fair, I'd like to say off the top, I don't know how much of that is the UFC doing bad editing. I think that is a prominent issue in that special, but we will get to that later. And it won't be the last time we get to it, unfortunately. But we're going to start this off with Rizin 26 recap, which, Chris, how much of this card did you see? And do you have it pulled up on Tapology yet?
Like 2 fights, and I can pull it up real quick.
Well, great. I can't imagine which 2 fights you saw.
Oh, let's try to remember here. Here we go. Definitely saw the main event.
Well, I figured, yeah.
And the other fight I saw.
Well, I guess I can start at the bottom. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get to
I did not see the 2 high schoolers fight, and and it ended in an arm bar. I believe it was a no contest. I think I heard on the show that Drake and everybody did. I believe it ended via arm bar because of the weight miss. I believe it ended via no contest because of the weight miss, if I remember right. So, yeah, that's weird. But also it's weird to have high schoolers fighting on it, or teenagers fighting on a card.
Let me see.
Fucking Japan, y'all. Let's see. Sidario versus Minnow Man. I mean, Minnow Man fought in 2020.
So if you tell me, I know it says the main card's at a 9, which is basically when you texted me. What was the first card?
I texted you. I texted you during the beginning of this thing, I think.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you texted me right at.
I think I texted you during the YouTuber fight.
It was you texted me here at 8:48 p.m. You said, I don't know if I'll let you log in. He's like, Rizin 26.
I don't not necessarily say what I said on air, but...
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, you just fixed it. Hey, dude.
I said, hey, Rizin's happening. Here's where you can find it.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, but
we all know what I said. But
no. What are you talking about? Anyways,
I don't know what I said.
What part of nothing was said. So what part of the card was at the actual start of the main card itself? I'm just trying to figure it out because I know I watched the main event, but I was like way later.
We'll start off the bottom. So basically, Minnow Man ate a fuck ton of low kicks and had zero answer for it. That's, to be honest, kind of how that fight went, and it was one of a couple rough elder fighter fights on this card, for lack of a better phrase. Man, that's one thing I get. It's like a very Japanese thing, but like, I don't like seeing it. Like the older fighters going out there and just getting bodied, which luckily there wasn't as much of on this card as I thought there was going to be necessarily, but there was enough of it to make it a very Japanese New Year, as they like to do. Let's see, what was next on this card? Kuramoto versus Nakahara. Let's see. Nakahara basically, if I remember, I got barnstormed immediately out the gate and then soccer kick KO'd. You saw that one.
I saw that one. I remember that.
Yeah.
You told me, hey, dude, look what's going on.
Yeah,
he's just shit.
Yeah, he's absolutely barnstormed, dude, and then just smashed him with a head kick. And it was like one of a couple, too. Like, he caught him earlier with a soccer kick as well. But, the last couple were nasty as fuck. Also, a good example of a soccer kick actually still being, like, it's not just somebody who's completely unconscious getting soccer kicked. It's that classic MMA stalling front headlock position stand up that led to it. So that was
So I
cool.
think I showed it to someone. They're like, "How the fuck is that legal?" I'm like, "Well, it's Japan.
Yeah.
It's legal to them."
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and all these have like their own rules and all that shit too. Then I believe somewhere around here was the Freak Show YouTube fight, right? Is that not even on? Wow, that's not even on Tapology. Tapology's not even acknowledging that as a
Yeah,
real
they're like,
fight.
"Nope."
Wow. They're not even acknowledging that as a real fight on Tapology. Unless I'm just not seeing it on here. Which is hilarious. I mean, to be fair, there was a weird phantom tap in that fight, and there was all kinds of goofy shit. So I don't necessarily doubt it, but evidently the YouTuber with the leopard sharks is not the guy, unless I'm just missing him somewhere on here. That's very funny. It's very funny that Tapology doesn't even have him. I know. Shouts to Pat Auger, who I know is the biggest fan of this dude, who I forget the name of. But yeah, very funny. I think I yelled his name 14 times earlier in the episode. Let's see, where were we at? Kai Asakura got the win. Pretty sure, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she got the decision. I mean, it was about how you thought it was going to go. Let's see. Sasaki got the decision. Some fun scrambles, but he gasped pretty early. He did look way bigger. And the commentary kept talking about him going for kept talking about him trying to go for a twister, but like he wasn't trying to feed the arm over the head, which is the only way you can really start that from the position he was in. It's just weird that he wasn't just doing the full body triangle like he normally does. I don't know how much of that was just him being gassed, but I don't know. It was an interesting fight. He definitely looked good after coming off the crazy jaw break, but yeah, a tougher fight than I would have thought for him necessarily. I believe after that. Oh, that's right. I believe you're right. The Karth in chat is bringing up that I think the YouTuber got the decision afterwards for the Phantom Tap, which makes it even more sus, because it makes it seem like that was supposed to be the end of the fight, and then the guy just kept going. Because I don't know. I don't know. There's some Japanese anime shit going on there. That's all I know. And all I also know is I want to see those motherfuckers again, because that was a fucking. I'm a big King Reina fan. Let me put it that way. Let's see. Where are we at? Oh, there's the 110-pound Muay Thai fight, right? With Yoshimura. Or Yoshinari, rather.
I'm trying to see where the fuck he went.
This dude absolutely.
Oh, Nadaka Yoshinari.
Yeah, absolutely smashed, dude.
I think I saw this one because I saw two tiny dudes. And then
Absolutely smashed him with elbows. It was brutal.
The other guy fought from Thailand, right? Looks like the Thai flag.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. But yeah, this is a big competition difference from my limited knowledge of their skill sets. Like this is basically a setup fight a little bit. But that's dude, good God, did he absolutely smash homie in the face over and over again with elbows in a way that was not nice. We'll put it that way. It was absolutely dominant. So huge win there. Hideo Tokoro fought Ota, which was it was about how you thought it would go. Ota is basically just slamming his way out of arm bars over and over again. And then fucking, who was it? Tokoro threw a flying knee that almost put him out of the ring at one point, which looked sketchy as shit. And then there's a nasty belly down armbar, and Tokoro was able to get the win. So always good to see I mean, I never hate seeing the vets getting the W, especially in like a very vet kind of style. So, big shouts to him. Let's see, where are we at?
Looks like Kyoji Hagiwara versus Ren Hiramoto.
Yeah, I don't. This was just a smashing, right? Like this was.
I think I saw this one too, but then I was pretty inebriated.
Yeah, my notes start getting a little sketchy. Oh no, here we go. So Hiramoto landing hard early, but he ate a ton of elbows and knees once he got taken down. He just he's I believe it was a kickboxer just recently. Yeah, it was his first MMA fight. But he had a ton of kickboxing bouts in the past in K1 and Bellator. He had one in Bellator and Crush as well. So he came over first MMA fight and like he looked great on the feet, was landing a bunch of knees and elbows, but the second he ended up on his back, he started getting smashed, especially with knees on the ground and elbows, and that was like beginning to end as soon as he got taken down. He actually made it to the second round, but it probably didn't need to go that far. This next one, Kleber Koik, absolutely got smashed to pieces for a second, and then he just was able to. He got what was it? He got crushed with a soccer kick, if I remember right.
Oh shit!
And then he like in a wild exchange. And then he got up, landed a giant right hand. I mean, he's notoriously known as a BJJ guy, but he got up, landed a giant right hand, jumped on a darce, and finished that shit. And he literally has the darce, and he's screaming at the camera like fucking aggressively while the dude is going unconscious.
Shit!
It's a really great visual. So yeah, huge win for that dude and a dominant performance for sure. Yeah, one of the ones, if you like, for things you're looking to go, there's a lot of finishes on this card, and they were all a lot of fun to watch. Speaking of which, Naoki Inoue taking on Yuki Motoya. This one is one of the more controversial ones on the card. I'm mixing up the one that's going to come up later on. In the in a different one. But Naoki Inoue, sorry. Basically kickbox at range the shit out of dude, and the second he tried to close the distance, he was able to scramble, hit a sweep, get the back, and get the RNC right at the bell in a super nasty RNC. So big win for sure. And impressive, no doubt. Ayaka Hamasaki, I want to see. Okay, this is Chris. Go ahead and read to me the Ayaka Hamasaki Miyu Yamamoto result, and then explain to me what you think that is.
It's a submission via leg scissors choke.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. When that. I don't understand what the fuck. Isn't that just like you do a triangle but with your legs, but you're in full mount? I don't understand what kind of. I don't understand why this is the name of that. When I mean, scissors, you could think of an obvious visual, but choke. Yeah, I don't. Unless you choke their fucking your legs up. I don't get it.
So I had a feeling you would not know what this looks like because it doesn't happen in high
it doesn't
level
exist
MMA.
or it's
no, it just doesn't. It doesn't happen in high level MMA. I thought I would have a better. I thought fucking Google Images would be better at this, but here. Okay, don't Google like scissor sub whatever you do.
Well, now I kind of have to.
No, that's not. None of this is actually what I'm looking for, and also it's okay. Actually, no. No. Anyway, Chris, essentially, imagine like similar to an armbar position, right?
Yeah.
Except essentially, they're just have one leg.
That makes sense.
They have one leg on the top. One. It's not a sub that is hit in a high level MMA. And it is...
okay, just look at it. You look like you'd be pretty dumb to get caught in that.
I mean, it's not something you get caught in if it's not a sketchy result. Also, Miyamoto, to be fair though, also is let me go ahead, not trying to be mean, but what it doesn't, wow, of course it doesn't say that. She is up there in age, like almost 40.
So yeah, it looks like this is almost similar to like a Von Flu. Then is like, how did you get there? Kind of sub.
Well, yeah,
Is that accurate?
Miyamoto, the 6-4 fighter, taking on the 20-3 fighter Ayaka Hamasaki.
There you fucking go.
Yeah. Sometimes Rizin does Rizin things, you know what I'm saying? Hey, it is what it is. Tension.
So yeah, and there's another photo in there. I kind of looked at. I was thinking it was basically just a regular triangle, but from a different position. Like it's almost like your butt's this way. That's what I thought it was.
You
It was
can
like
probably hit it at like a more legit angle, but yeah, like the way she hit it was like it was an armbar, but she just leg scissored her neck, and it was. Okay. She had, to be fair, she did have like Kimura grip, but like it wasn't doing anything with it. It's Japanese MMA, y'all. I forgot to mention, Takanori Gomi actually had a weird fight with Kyoji Tanaka.
Wow.
To be fair, maybe one of the most fun rounds I've seen in a Takanori Gomi fight of all time is the third round of this thing. Just because it's classic Takanori Gomi just banging it out with a dude. And he actually he used his jab a whole fuckload, which is pretty crazy for Takanori Gomi. But yeah, it was a fun fight. The only problem is, so many clashes of heads. It's wild in this fight. So that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, a lot of clashes of heads. But yeah, not great. Also, the Asakura finish. I'm pretty sure that we are about to talk about, or that we do not talk about the Mikuro Asakura finish against Satoshi Yamasu. That shit 100% was started off by a headbutt. It's really brutal if you watch it back. It's like one of the nastiest clash of heads I've ever seen, and then he just basically, the ref stops it. The ref goes, "That was a clash of heads. Don't do that again." And they just start again while the dude's like clearly like pawing at his head and clearly fucked up. And then the dude just walks around and doesn't do anything, and then just gets overhand righted and head kicked. It's really bad. It's not a good look for Japanese MMA. That one. Man, that ref. Yeah, that shit would not have happened in the U.S. So rough to watch. Do you see the Tenshin Nasukawa fight?
I saw part of it, and I remember because I think I was on Xbox. I was talking to Jake, and he was like, "Yeah, it's really a shame." Unless it was you that told me, it was fucking bummer that Rizin decided to even do that Nasukawa Floyd Mayweather fight, because now the casual fan and general audience will never know how much of a badass Nasukawa is, no matter how many badass things he does.
It's because like me or Jake, to be honest. Yeah,
I think it was both of them I said it.
Probably.
But one of you told me that, and I'm like, wow, yeah, that's super accurate. It's unfortunate that he had to get schooled by Mayweather the way that he did.
Yeah, because he's dope as shit. I mean, the problem is he's so much smaller, like and also he's so much less experience, and he couldn't kick. Like if he could kick, he would have destroyed Floyd.
Yeah,
because you saw him in this fight, and he was fucking money all day. I mean, he absolutely bodied dude the entire time. I mean, there were some competitive moments, a little bit, but mostly it was just a shit kicking for 3 rounds. So, yeah, classic tension fight, and impressive as always. Dude is one of the fastest people on the planet when it comes to kickboxing, especially in Rizin. And yeah, man, super impressive. And then lastly, you did see this fight, so why don't you talk about this one, since I'm in Blackburn?
From what I can recall, in a drunken moment, is a lot of leg kicks and leg checks from Horiguchi, just attacking Asakura and just in the front, just immediately.
Kicks and checks, yeah.
Kicks and checks, following up with just like a clinch and then dirty uppercut, from what I remember, and just kind of banging him inside, and then he just kind of fell and finished it with ground and pound. Right?
46. You're right. So you got that in chat. My bad about that. No, I mean it was pretty much that. Kyoji just kept banging him with low kicks, and then dude went for that weird flying knee and just got pummeled with 3 right hands.
That's what it was.
I heard there was some talk about a head clash, but on the replays, like they definitely touched heads in one of the combos, but it did not seem to be as let me put it this way, it was nowhere near as nasty as the Asakura head clash. And honestly, I think Kyoji just clocked him really clean right above and / behind the ear a couple times while he was in the air and just didn't have footing. Oh, really? That's cool to hear. So the Karth in chat is saying Tenshin's opponent's really good from what he hears from some of his Muay Thai, or some of his friends that follow Muay Thai.
Oh, nice.
Which, I mean, man, yeah, Tenshin's one of those guys, man. Although Tenshin also gets, like, I would say, I bet that dude gets a lot of style appropriate matchups, because I don't know Muay Thai or kickboxing well enough to know how they're matchmaking him on that stuff, but it seems like apart from Floyd, like a lot of those are kind of, it seems like he's fighting dudes with at least less reach most of the time, if not like a skill set that at least timing wise pairs up well with him, you know. To be fair though, he's so fucking fast, like that's a big part of it, right? But yeah, it was interesting to see that Kai was absolutely, I mean, Kai had no answer for low kicks in that fight. Even the ones he checked, like, it was rough.
Because if I recall correctly, didn't Asakura knock him out one of Horiguchi's just few losses? It was like a big upset.
Yeah,
like a year or two
just
back.
recently, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty wild that he just got flurried on the way he did. And I'm guessing they're definitely gonna run that back soon. You gotta imagine.
Yeah, because I know some asked is he going to Bellator to fight, or you know, for that cross promotion thing, or what's going on, or maybe will he get drawn back to the UFC? Maybe someone for Figueiredo.
I mean, to be fair though, they are trying to build 25, but I don't think they're gonna pay him what he's worth. Like, he's gonna make so much more in any other promotion.
Yeah.
Rizin or Bellator, both. To be honest, he can fight.
I mean,
for
right
both.
now, I would just love to see him fight Mighty Mouse, who's at 1. I mean, if Dana had a brain, which he does, I mean, he has his selfish.
Very
he has a
racist.
brain.
Yeah,
He has a brain.
racist, selfish,
it's very
money
selfish,
hungry brain.
and it's a selfish business-driven brain. But
or hooker-driven, depending on what day it is. Shouts
hookers,
out to
cocaine,
Experiment Rhino.
you know, the Vegas obvious shit. That being said, if you had a brain, you do a flyweight, you know, best of tournament. You know, my champion from UFC versus, you know, Rizin versus 1 versus Bellator, if they even have a flyweight division. You know,
they'll never do that though. Like,
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, that would be so goddamn cool.
I feel like we talk about this every week, and it.
I know. It's because it makes us upset that Dana White can't just do this. You know, it's like,
well,
dude.
Dana White has always been the dude who's going to take his toys and go
by the
home
way,
when
who
he
do you take in you know, between Horiguchi, Mighty Mouse, and Figueiredo? I almost think it ends up between Mighty Mouse versus Figueiredo. Not to take anything away from, but I can see Horiguchi beating Figueiredo though, because Figueiredo keeps his hands down.
Mighty Mouse bodied Horiguchi, but that was super early in his career. I believe Horiguchi is the dude he caught the last second armbar on.
It was an armbar with like 5 seconds to go.
I don't even think it was 5. I think it was literally the last second armbar. And it was it was a fight where he schooled him the entire time. Figueiredo is
Figueiredo probably punches way harder than both of them, I'm sure, but just less technique, and but he's got crazy chin, bad defense. I guess I can call it bad, at least against Moreno. Good jiu-jitsu defense. I mean, Figueiredo's still a fucking monster. He's it's interesting. But this is the thing. If Cejudo can make 125, I think Cejudo beats everyone.
I don't think he will ever again.
What's that?
I don't think Cejudo has any reason to make 25 again.
He wouldn't, but if he did, he's
in the Conor
McGregor
now, 45 situation at this point.
Yeah, and I agree. But I'm saying, theoretically, with his skill set now, I think he's better than everyone, and it just comes down to, can he beat Mighty Mouse again? I think he probably can at this point, just based on how good Cejudo's become. It would definitely still be a close fight. and I'm not taking anything away from Mighty Mouse because, like I said
I
before,
think Mighty Mouse is competitive up until the day he's not athletic anymore.
Yeah, and I think Mighty Mouse won that second fight. I do still acknowledge it's a very close fight, and I honestly see why someone could shake Cejudo in that.
Sure, but you could argue 10-8 in that first round real easy nowadays.
Yeah, and that's still why
that's a big fight. And also, there's a lot of close rounds that Henry only won because he got a takedown that he did nothing with. Like, nowadays, scoring, I don't think people score
probably
that for him.
Yeah. Anyways, we talked about this before. Cause
we sure have. So, Chris.
Or one and all that. And,
yeah. What we need to get to is the unspoken...
the elephant in the room? What's the elephant in the room?
Well, I was going to say the elephant in the room, but he actually made a stupid elephant reference in his shitty special that I was trying to remember. And also, I don't want to use the phrase the elephant in the room because to be fair, wait, what'd you say?
It's like, how can I get another beer? I'm already almost done with this one, man.
Yes, you should get another beer. But also, I specifically don't want to reference the elephant in the room since that's the name of one of the greatest specials of all time, Patrice O'Neal's special. So that's 100% the reference I don't want to make. Yeah. Because this is the elephant in the room of MMA, and I don't mean that in a positive way. Yeah, I know. So, Matt, oh God. How do I pronounce Matt's name? Matt Joya, I want to say. Let me pull up Twitter and see if I can actually pronounce this right. But I feel like when I look at it, it's a little bit easier. And I just tweeted at him about how he made me watch this on this episode. And it's fucking the most brutalist. Joya Plata on Twitter at GIOIAPLATA, one of the fight site kids. I believe the intern over at the fight site. Great dude. I love all the interactions I've had with him on Twitter and whatnot. But I could say that about all the fight site guys. But oh boy, he brought up here. Let me pull the actual tweet so I can 100% be a journalist about this. So Matt tweeted to us, are you guys... So we tweeted out that we highly recommend giving this one a listen about the Coast to Coast Combat Hour stuff. And then Matt tweeted to us, are you guys going to do the MMA comedy special, or do you not hate yourselves enough yet? And goddamn it, Matt, you know we hate ourselves that much. And that's why I tweeted, haha, goddamn it, now that you bring it up. It's... Oh, yeah, the Carthan chat helping us out. I know he's not the Karth, but you can't. He's a vaping scooter gang guy. You gotta play the gimmick appropriately, right? So point being said, Chris and I so far have only watched, because we did this on the break because I wanted to be very fresh when we came into this. We watched the first 15 minutes of the hunt. What's the official name of this special, Chris? Do you know it?
No, I couldn't tell you.
Here, let me pull it up on. It's not Fighting with Myself because that's Fernando's podcast, but it's something like that. It's worse. No wait, it's not Fernando's podcast. It's Aaron Jackson's podcast. Throwing punches. God damn it. So we watched the Adam Hunter special, Throwing Punches, only for the first 15 minutes. Now, before we say anything about this, we are 100%... let me clarify. Since Chris has to watch Irreversible this week, I also need to punish myself in an equal fashion, or else it's not really fair for the show.
Yep.
So at the very end of our awards show next week, as like a gift to all y'all who listen, Chris is going to review Irreversible, and I am going to review the full 38 minutes of the Adam Hunter special, Throwing Punches, because we watched the first 15 minutes, and oh fucking boy, Chris, what do you want to open on? I want you to start this off.
So I'll start this off with what I texted a friend of the podcast, Jake. A picture of just on my laptop, me watching it. And I said, yo, are you aware of this? Let's just say Adam Hunter here makes Brendan Schaub look good. And then he goes, I saw the preview during a fight night. Looks awful. And then I'm like, well, this terrible special is on the front page of Fight Pass, and right now I'm being forced to watch it. I'm kidding.
I mean, no, you literally were. The shout out to Matt.
I said, so for reference, Jake did watch the Brendan Schaub special, whatever the fuck that was, like a year and a half ago. And I remember he told me distinctly, holy shit, dude, I haven't laughed yet, and I'm very high. So what did I tell him? I said, I'm very high right now, and I'm actually angry watching this. It's just making me sigh deeper. And he's like, oh, well, don't plan on watching that one. And then this is what you said, and I just kind of reiterated your joke. I would describe him as Mitch Hedberg with brain damage. And Jake goes, that's an insult to Mitch Hedberg and people with brain damage. And then he's like, just started watching. He's like, basically like, just watch a little bit. This shit looks violently unfunny. And I was like, yeah, it's...
So while I say Mitch Hedberg
and that's
damage,
why I'm glad I asked him, because he's watched the Brendan Schaub special, and apparently you have. I didn't know you watched it. Yeah, I didn't realize you watched it either.
Dude, although to be fair, I watched it half hammered and on I think 100 milligrams of edibles, which was almost tolerable. Actually, I had a pretty good time, but I was mostly laughing at Brendan Schaub. So I don't know if that counts.
Tomo.
Yeah, I don't know if that counts. I just kept yelling Tom about at the screen the whole time. No, but my main thing with the Adam Hunter thing, number one, I think the biggest disadvantage he has going for him is that it was done by a UFC production. I think that 100% fucked him. They don't know how to shoot a special. Yeah. The audience, it was shot at the MMA Awards. It's not a comedy audience. They should have sweetened the audio if they're gonna do it like that, because the fucking crowd reactions are brutal for a special.
Yeah, it's like the same couple of people laughing the entire time.
Well, it's not even that. It's it's brutal. Like the size of that room and the sound of the response is rough. And then the only jokes that actually get laughs are the ones where he stops doing straight humor. Like there was a
and makes fun of someone in the crowd.
No, it's Mike Perry every time. It's just Mike Perry.
Yeah.
And even then, half the time, he's like, oh, I like you, Mike Perry, though. Even though I'm shitting on you and talking about your child girlfriend, which is a real thing. Like, you can't... I get that you have to do both so you don't just get pummeled after the show. But here's a couple... Here are my notes. I wrote down 3 notes during this special, during the 15 minutes. Apart from the notes that I left in chat, if you guys want to go look at the live. You guys, I believe if you actually watch the show live, like if you rewatch it later, I think if you pull up the chat, you can actually, I queue you up in real time to when I start the special, and you can see my real time responses in chat. I try to keep it, in the realms of okay things, but my 3 notes were that there was Mexican gilf jokes, y'all.
Yeah,
there's a lot of those. A lot of children jokes because he has a kid. All
what
the
was
jokes
the one
he
was like?
It's just a lot of street jokes. Like honestly, it was
something about like a church and you don't pull out. Like what the fuck? Like a lot of it was just kind of like.
Oh,
okay.
He had a great psychic looting joke about how
we didn't see that coming.
And then very last thing we heard before the 15 minutes ended was he had a great Caitlyn Jenner Transformer and then Decepticon joke.
So what I did when we were watching this is when it was going to 15 minutes, right at 14:50, I was like 10.
Yeah, Chris was counting it down, and then he literally hit a
7,
double.
And then you're like, dude, you missed the Transformer joke.
And I'm
Decepticon,
like, good. Obviously, because bro. Dicks are scary. I don't, dude.
So what I want to know is how much did the UFC pay him, if they did?
No. I mean, yeah, probably, but no, not they.
And how does Adam feel after the humiliation?
I bet he feels real bad about taking that deal.
Do you think he actually does, or do you think he doesn't give a fuck?
No, I think as a comic that is...
Because as a comic, I'd feel like shit.
I think as a comic, he got put in a fucked up position by the UFC, and that he was never going to be able to do a good product. Because honestly, I've listened to a lot of that dude's podcast. I've heard a lot of crowd work and the crowd work he did was great. So we should also
make fun of people while they're there.
I also want to clarify.
Roasted multiple times, and
I also want to clarify. I've only seen 15 minutes, and that's not a fair way to judge a special, which is why I am subjecting myself to the entire thing next week. But I'd like to say for the record, I think the position he was put in makes it an impossible.
It's unfair.
You can't put out a good special in that situation. I don't think.
Yeah.
You can put out a manageable one at best, and I think Rogan would have done it if he thought he could have by now. And I think there's a reason why Rogan
That's actually
hasn't.
a really good point that you bring that up, considering Rogan is.
I think he would have done it.
I guess first and foremost.
Oh, I'm sure the UFC has asked for. I would.
But yeah, they've
I would
probably
put
asked him
money on
multiple times. He's probably like, "Well, their production sucks ass, so no, I wouldn't
Well,
subject
he
myself
also just
to that."
knows you can't. It's not how comedy works. You can't use regular.
Or the
It's a
format
different
they
thing.
want. No.
Brian fucking Hennigan. Furious about it. Anyway, we should wrap this shit up. It's fucking late
Yeah, I'm
as
done
shit,
talking
but,
about this depressing shit.
But to be fair, I do want to say on the record, I am going to watch the entire special for next week. And Chris, you are watching Irreversible, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm going to send it to you.
And I don't know which worse, that or you watching the rest of Adam Hunter's special. But we'll find out.
Honestly, I'd rather watch Adam Hunter's special, and I really love the movie Irreversible. Let me put it that way.
That's the thing. You still like the movie, so.
No, I love it to death, and I don't want to watch it again.
Okay, so that actually also gives me an idea of what I'm looking forward to, because I have seen movies before where, you watch it, and I'm like, that's good, but not going to watch it again.
Oh, And
don't get me wrong, I'm not naive. I'm not going to assume it's on the level of Irreversible by the way you've hyped it up. But I do have.
This is a movie you cannot overhype on how it goes.
So it's just more direct.
It's more genuine warning than it is hype.
That's what I mean. No, I know what you're telling me. It's just you're telling me right. You're not gonna like it, and yes, that's.
No,
what
I'm not saying you won't
right?
like it. I think you might like it as a movie if you can get all the way through it. I'm saying it's a fucking brutal experience to get through.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. I am attributing it that way, and I expect that. So it's kind
of. You know what? I also have a brutal experience in my future, and I look forward.
Hey, here's a tip: smoke all the weed you can.
Oh, that's definitely. Don't do that for yours. That's gonna make it worse.
No.
I would maybe sip some light beers or something. I don't know. Maybe keep some absinthe nearby if you need it. But on that note, we're gonna wrap this. We will be back next week though with our giant award show that we do every year for the MMA Podcast Awards. It's my favorite thing we do every year. I feel like it's the thing that everybody likes about our show more than anything, because it's a chance to reward all the cool shit that MMA Podcast did. Which this was a very weird year, and a lot of people really stepped the fuck up to the plate in a tough time. A lot of people shied away from the plate and acted like giant bitches. But it's been one of those years where it kind of fucking separates the wheat from the chaff. Am I right, Chris?
Goddamn right.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap this motherfucker here. But you got anything to shout out before we get out of this motherfucker?
Yeah, I kind of made it obvious. I fanboyed pretty hard with my diehard fandom of San Diego sports. For those who are fans of Major League Baseball, just baseball in general, San Diego Padres outdid themselves again. They acquired 2 of the top 10 pitchers in all of baseball last year.
Are we finally gonna be okay as a city at a fucking?
Can I tell you
sport?
this right now, Chris? If there's any time to pretend to like the Padres, to be on their bandwagon, to get a nice brown and gold SD hat, it is right fucking now. We have the 3rd best odds to win the fucking World Series in 2021. That's how stacked the Padres are. And it's fun because the national media, and I've listened to this on all
Let me guess.
podcasts.
How many times is the word fluke used or reference that we're great until it matters?
In 0 times. You know why? Because it's one of those general manager aggressive trends where you want to win now, right? You have that window of contention. And the thing with baseball, sure, you have your homegrown talent, and then you have a winning team, and then sometimes it drops off. Like the Chicago Cubs hadn't won a World Series in 108 fucking years. That's like people's grandparents had never seen their team win, right? Until they built up a super team, won 1 year, and then now they're terrible, right? Thanks to the Padres over the weekend, trading for one of the star pitchers. My point is, as a San Diego sports fan, yes, they have to go up against the Dodgers, who won the World Series last year in a COVID season. Some people call it a Mickey Mouse ring. Whatever. I still think it's a legitimate title. It's more legitimate than Houston's title. Anyways, the point is, if the Padres end up winning the World Series in the next 3 years, which is their big window, dude, they can fucking be terrible for the next 20, 30 years. I don't care. It just goes to show how much that really makes up for sports incompetence in San Diego. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, if we can win the first title we've ever won in like
that's what I'm
fucking
saying.
400 years.
Chris, if the Padres win the World Series in the next 3 years, you're gonna want to be downtown. Right? You don't even care. You're like, oh yeah,
it depends
I'll
on.
give you. I will give you a Padres hat, and you will have a fucking great night. Like that's how like.
But counter argument:
Sure.
how many people are gonna die downtown if they do win?
People will die.
Everybody's
People
gonna
will die. And you know what? I'm okay with that. So.
Yeah, so is the rest of our country. I don't know. Welcome to America, motherfuckers.
Cheers to the Padres. Maybe beating the Dodgers, but probably not. But if they do, you know what? That's awesome. Cheers to staying healthy, more importantly.
Cheers to COVID, the unofficial sponsor of our country.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. And by the way, this beer that I had to sit through the struggle of you describing that comedy, if you want to call it that, is Bell's Two Hearted Ale. Of course, I just had to do that.
Yeah, fucks with Bell's. You're right. I interrupted you on that. I'm sorry. Bell's Two Hearted. Fuck yeah. That's
all I wanted to say and add on. And then I'm done. And,
wait. Did you have any... I just realized we didn't give our well-rounded stuff.
Yeah. Cyberpunk, I guess, again. Even though it's like...
Do you not hate Cyberpunk yet?
No, because...
How far
Can I tell you why? And you're going to laugh. And you're going to appreciate this, actually.
Yeah.
So I did a side mission that was really dope. And I'll say this, so far, the best part of the game is the story. And Keanu Reeves is actually pretty cool in this.
I heard those parts are cool as shit.
Yeah, it's legitimately cool as fuck. He's very condescending.
Yeah,
you
I heard
hate him, but you like him.
A lot of fun.
No, it's legitimately really good storytelling from his character, Johnny Silverhand. And there's a mission you do where you track down a drop-off, and you find out it's a famous piece of art that was on the moon. And Johnny Silverhand explains to you where it's from. So, right, it's only worth $4,000, and you could sell it after killing a bunch of private security people. Anyways, I look it up because I was like, okay, what is this thing really worth? Apparently, there's like a money glitch. So I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I've been making so much fucking money exploiting a bug that's still in the game that's made the game 10 times better. It's like, oh, I have like $500,000 now. I'll just buy all this and all that. And yeah, it's fun. Now I just feel like I'm just God in the game. It's pretty great.
Have they
and I have like all the
inventory glitch, or else you might want to be careful.
Which one is that?
There was an inventory glitch that if you had too much in your inventory, it would kill your save.
No, and I've never... and they did fix that for sure, because when I was building up a crafting spec, you would just build. You would just, like, make one of everything and be... You know, like in The Witcher, it says, oh, you're over-encumbered, or in Skyrim, and you're, like, heavy. You know, it's just like that weight, or in Fallout. They definitely fixed that, because I was way over the limit, and I would just reformat and just disassemble all those different weapons I just made. And so, no, they definitely fixed the glitch by the time I was doing that, because I definitely would have had a corrupt game. But, no, I'm good. So luckily I played it in time, or did all that.
Hell yeah.
Bullshit. So yeah, I'm exploiting the game, and I don't care. It makes it actually way more fun, because I have all the top gear, and I'm like destroying everyone, and it's hilarious. I'm like a Terminator.
Well,
it actually makes it more fun.
It's like how I used to play all the Bethesda games, where I just remove all the fucking cumbersome bullshit and make it way more fun. I'm like, I got all the cheese wheels, bitch. I got 8,000 cheese wheels. Eat a dick.
All I do half the time is I get a katana, because like I have like all the stats and like armed combat with blades. Fucking instant decapitate people. Go up. I have these things called gorilla arms, where your hands are like metal and you're super strong. You punch people the fuck out. I just go up and do like combos and duck and do hooks to the body and just knock them in the face, and their fucking body flies. It's pretty great, and you can bash your brain in. So
So you're just playing like fucking cyberboxing, fucking.
Yeah, I'm just going around just punching the fuck out of everyone, and it's hilarious.
That seems like the
you
way
get
to
these
play
things in
that.
your tendons where you can fucking run and hold down A and jump like Spider-Man, like fucking 30 feet in the air. So you can just like hit up the spots. It's like, oh, that dude's going up the ladder, and just jump up, and then there you are.
Jesus, nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. For my well-rounded this week, the only ones I had was the Laps Fan Christmas Special 2020. They officially did the part 2 of the fucking hilarious. They essentially do they recast pro wrestling characters as the Home Alone movie. So
so Marvin Harry.
The entire they screenplay the entire movie with pro wrestlers.
Oh god, so every character is a pro wrestler?
Every single character.
Oh my
So
God.
they did the first movie, which they have obviously Kevin Allister as Steve Austin.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously, as you would. I believe. I mean, I couldn't even go through everybody. It's everybody. Vince McMahon is obviously one of the fucking the
Probably the
burglars.
dad.
No, he's one of the burglars.
He's like
Obviously,
Marvin Harry.
of course he is. God damn it, Kevin. It's a lot of that. And fucking what's his face with the oh god.
What the fuck is The Rock? I mean, you clearly have to have been there.
He's definitely in there. I
It's
can't
probably
remember.
Buzz, the older brother that fucking bullies him.
I can't remember, dude. There's so many characters. It's
actually
literally
sounds
like
hilarious.
50 or 60. But they so for 2020 they did the sequel finally. So they now did they did Home Alone 2 in New York. So they go to Titan Towers. It's
Who
so
plays
good.
Donald Trump? Vince McMahon.
Dude, Donald Trump does make an appearance as Donald Trump. JP does do a Donald Trump impression. It's really good. Fuck, dude. I'm telling you, it's very, very funny, and you should definitely give it a listen. It is, I believe, part of their Patreon, but holy fucking shit, is it one of the funniest things on the planet. I've never TJ DeSantis, you guys, anybody in the MMA sphere would know as one of the best producers of all time, is the guy who does the audio production for it, and he does the full audio production. You got he's pulling sounds out of Home Alone, like the dun 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 dun. Like he's pulling all the sounds in the background.
What
and
about the
everything
part
while
where
it's
the
happening.
kid screams? He's like, ah!
No, 100%. You hear the fucking thing go down the stairs. You hear the toolbox go down the stairs.
I just hope there's like the and keep
it's
the
the best.
change, you filthy animals.
100%.
And they start shooting it. Oh Jesus!
No,
Yeah, that
there's
sounds funny.
There's all kinds of references. It's the best. Also, Jay Cation is a guy who here in San Diego has been doing a ton of videos. He's a YouTuber and he just a really nice guy. And he did a top 5 California burritos in San Diego, and he nailed the list.
Wait. What's number 1?
Boy. Oh, dude. Actually, it's a place I've never fucking heard of. It's NOB. It's called like Jack's or something like that.
You know what? I'll say this right now. Discrepancy. I don't eat Mexican food too often.
No,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
you know all the ones on the list. He had JV's. He had Elko.
JV's.
He
Yep.
had.
Elko.
He had.
Lolitas. has gotta be
Lolitas
up
was
there.
on there.
They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Lolitas was 5.
Those are my 3. It's Kotick's, JV's, Lolitas, and I'd probably say Vallarta, I guess.
Dude,
'cause they're basically-
Portal is not bad either. El Portal. Where
Everyone cheats on El Portal.
I fucks with El Portal.
But I'm saying compared to like Vallarta and Kotick, because they're right down the street.
I mean, I would go Tijuana over both of those, but I don't like Vallarta that much.
I don't need. It's too expensive.
To be
It's
honest-
a price thing for me. It's a price thing. Swear to God.
To be honest, great transition. I 100% love La Perla, which was the #1 burrito in the Wrapped Reviews Cali Burrito Awards, which is a San Diego YouTube
La
show.
Perla?
Yeah, La Perla. I
Where
actually
they
live
based
right
at?
next to one.
So
What?
So where are they at in San
There's like
Diego?
4 of them in PB, I think, or around
Okay.
nearby PB. But yeah, this is Wrapped Reviews is like some YouTubers here in San Diego who just do California burrito reviews. So like clearly some college-esque students who just like do this shit.
They
and
probably
it's-
go to SDSU and they're like Trujillo. Don't get me wrong, I like Trujillo's. I had a couple times. They have very good fucking Mexican food.
Dude, They've gone to a lot of stuff, but it's I enjoy it in a weird way. It's got a very, very weird vibe to it, but I fucking dig it. And yeah, man, check out Wrapped Reviews. They actually have just recently been getting a little bit of shine down here.
Nice.
The Dr. Greenhill podcast. Greenhill, that's wrong. Dr. Green Thumb podcast.
Good set.
With that's B Real's podcast. I've listened to a bit of that. It's been pretty
That checks out.
Because again, I've been smoking hella weeds. And then lastly, all I got is I talked about Cream of the Crop, Amblegrams, and then Ambrosio 15, the Italian restaurant down here in San Diego that I talked about. I'll put a link in the YouTube playlist that we always make every week on our YouTube channel. If you go there, you can see all the stuff we talk about. If there's a video about it, we probably have it on a playlist for that episode. So you can see some Ambrosio 15 stuff. But yeah, that's some honorable mentions, and we are out of here, right, Chris?
Yeah, the only last thing I want to mention, quick last minute. If you are all on Twitch at all, follow Classically Famous. He is Blake Snell, now the new pitcher of the San Diego Padres. He is probably the biggest gamer of all Major League Baseball. He's formerly the Tampa Bay Rays. Padres made an insane trade. You know, this dude was shutting down the Dodgers in the World Series just a couple months ago, and they pulled him in the 6th inning, and the Rays lost Game 6. And he literally says on camera, "What the fuck are we doing?" Well, guess what? Now you're going to a team that wants to win too, and you get your chance to get revenge against the Dodgers. Anyway, this dude, all he does is he plays MLB The Show. He's also on Xbox. He plays Rocket League. He plays a shit ton of NBA 2K. Right. The dude does his own remixes with like rap songs. He has like all these different camera angles. He is very fun to watch.
Oh shit! I'm gonna check that out.
It's Classically Famous. Just looked up on Twitch. He is hilarious. He gives love to everyone in the chat, regardless if you're fans of the Tampa Bay Rays, San Diego Padres, any team, whatever. He's probably one of the bigger just athletes in general that is just a gamer. He plays a shit ton of Warzone, like anything, it's fun. And I'm really happy he's part of the Padres because that gives me another reason to go on Twitch. So,
oh yeah, man, I'm actually
Blake Snell of the Padres, Classically Famous. I'm
gonna have to swing up on that. Hell yeah, man. Well, on that note, y'all, you guys can, as always, hit us up tsovpod. Send us an email, sovpod@gmail.com. Hit up the website, thesoundofviolence.com. We're always looking for recommendations of whatever you're listening to. And we're going to be having our big award show next week, which I am super excited about, for our big MMA Podcast Awards that we do every year. So if you guys have any nominees for categories of MMA Podcast Awards, like if you have a weird-ass category that we're not thinking about, please send it in. If you got any weird podcast that I need to hear before the end of the year, please send it in. If you have a best episode of the year, please send it in. If you have any weird suggestions or clips, send them in. I don't know. I'm looking for shit. So, we'll wrap this here. But, Chris, anything else before we're out?
That's it for now.
All right. Well, until next time, everybody, go do something decking it. We out. Bye.
Liked by the sound of violence. Liked by the sound of violence.